Hello friends, did you know that Oracle just secured a massive $300 million windfall and the cloud computing landscape will never be the same? In this video, we break down how Larry Ellison's tech giant pulled off this incredible financial feat and what it means for the escalating cloud wars against the giants like AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud. As the enterprise demand for AI integrated cloud infrastructure skyrockets, Oracle positions itself as a dominant force. We will analyze the specific deals that led to this jackpot, the impact on Oracle's stock, and why the analysts are shifting their outlook on the company's long term growth. Let's go and explore this further. For decades, the cloud wars had a predictable hierarchy. Amazon, Microsoft, and Google sat on the throne while everyone else fought, for the crumbs. But in late 2025 and moving into 2026, the script has been flipping. In fact, it has flipped completely now. Oracle, the company your dad knew for databases, just hit another 300 billion jackpot. This isn't just a win, it's a tectonic shift. We are talking about a massive multi-year deal with OpenAI that has sent Oracle's backlog or remaining performance obligations soaring to an eye-watering $553 billion. Today we are diving into the new Oracle. How did Larry Ellison turns a legacy software company into the backbone of the AI revolution? Is this 300 billion windfall a guaranteed victory, or is Oracle building a house of cards on the back of a single customer? So friends, before we move forward, and if you've reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this live stream. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's break it down. To understand the jackpot, we have to look at the numbers. The headline is $300 billion. 5-year contract with OpenAI. To put that in perspective, that's roughly 60 billion in revenue per year from just one client. Why would OpenAI, a company born in Microsoft Azure's cloud, move a massive chunk of its workload to Oracle? The answer is simple: capacity and power. OpenAI's hunger for compute is insatiable. They need electricity and lots of it. This deal involves 4.5 gigawatts of power capacity. That's enough to power 4 million homes. Oracle isn't just renting out existing space, they are building massive new AI factories under a project often referred to as Stargate. We are seeing brand new data centers, campuses in Texas and Ohio, packed with hundreds of thousands of NVIDIA Blackwell GPUs, Oracle's secret weapon. Their infrastructure was built later than AWS and Azure. That sounds like a disadvantage, but it actually means their Gen 2 cloud was designed specifically for high performance workload and modern databases, the exact environment AI needs to thrive. But building a 300 billion cloud isn't easy. You cannot just plug 400,000 GPUs into a wall socket. The traditional power grid cannot handle this. This is where the heating up part of your title gets literal. Just this week, in April 2026, Oracle made a massive move to solve the energy crisis. They have partnered with Bloom Energy for nearly 3 gigawatts of fuel cell power. Instead of waiting for years for local utility companies to build power lines, Oracle is building its own off-grid power plant. They are literally bypassing the grid to ensure their AI servers never go dark. This level of aggressive expansion is why Oracle Cloud Infrastructure revenue jumped 84% in most recent quarter. While the big three are growing at steady clips, Oracle is growing like a startup on a steroid. Now we have to talk about the red flag, which is $300 billion. Sounds great on paper, but Wall Street is nervous. Oracle stock has been going through some intense volatility lately. Why? Because customer concentration. Over 50% of Oracle's future backlog is tied to one company, which is OpenAI. If OpenAI struggles to monetize its model, or if the AI bubble cools down, Oracle is left holding the bill for billions of dollars in hardware and in data centers. Oracle's debt to equity ratio is also significantly higher than Microsoft or Amazon. They are borrowing heavily to build this future. They are spending $50 billion in capital expenditure this year alone. It's a bet the farm movement for Larry Ellison. Is Oracle a ticking time bomb or a visionary genius? The market can't quite decide at this point in time. So, where does this leave us? Oracle has officially graduated. They are no longer the database company or the fourth placed cloud. With 300 billion jackpot in hand, they are the specialized AI cloud. That's the world's most powerful startup as flocking it. The cloud war is heating up because the rules have changed. It's no longer about who has the most features. It's about who has the most GPUs and most gigawatts. And Oracle has both. If they can execute on this backlog and diversify their client base beyond OpenAI, we might be looking at the new king of enterprise tech. But if the AI hype fails to meet reality, the $300 billion windfall could become a $300 billion lesson in over expansion. One thing is certain, Oracle isn't playing it safe anymore. They are playing for the whole jackpot. So friends, what do you think? Is Oracle the best AI player in the market, or the risk is too high? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dive into the tech that is going to shape 2026 and beyond. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you again in the next one. Before I leave, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends and namaskaram. Did you know the sunglasses we wear today started as a courtroom tool in 1200 AD in China? Forget the beach or the runways, the original purpose of the tinted lens was about hiding the truth. In this video, we dive deep into the fascinating history of sunglasses and reveal why they were actually invented long before they were the global fashion statement. The Chinese judges used flat pans of smoky quartz to conceal their eyes' expression while interrogating witnesses. This poker face tactic was essential for maintaining authority and absolute impartiality in the courtroom. Let us explore this further. We wear them for style. We wear them for sun protection. We wear them because we stayed up too late in the night before and don't want world to know about our black eyes. Sunglasses are perhaps the most universal accessory on the planet. Whether you are on a sunny beach in California or a high stake poker game in the Vegas. Sunglasses are a shield. They allow us to observe the world without letting the world observe us. But have you stopped to wonder when were they actually invented? You might think of the 20th century Hollywood elite or perhaps even early 20th century pilots, but you would be off by about 800 years. The story of sunglasses doesn't begin on a runway or in a cockpit. It begins in the bustling, highly sophisticated courtrooms of the Song dynasty in China all the way back in 1200 AD. Today, we are peeling back the layers on the surprising, secretive, and truly fascinating origins of the first sunglass. It's a story of justice, psychology, and the ancient need for a impenetrable poker face. So, friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Now, let us continue with our discussion. To understand why sunglasses were invented, we have to travel back to 1200 AD during Song dynasty. This was a period of incredible innovation in China. If you have lived during this time, you were living in a golden age of engineering, astronomy, judicial reforms, etc. The judicial system of Song dynasty was very complex. It relied heavily on the testimony of the witnesses, and the judge was ultimate arbiter of the truth. But there was a problem that had plagued the legal system for centuries, which is human biases. A judge had to be impartial. A judge had to be a blank slate. If a judge showed even a flicker of emotion, a raised eyebrow, a narrowing of the eye, a look of skepticism, it could intimidate a witness, bias the court, or give away a verdict before the final ruling was delivered. The eyes, as the saying goes, are the window to the soul. So in 1200s, the Chinese judges realized that those windows were a liability. If they were to maintain the absolute appearance of fairness, they needed a way to mask their reactions. They needed a way to hide their eyes. Enter the inventor of the time. They didn't have plastic or high-tech polymers. They worked with the earth, what they found them on the earth, what earth gave them. The material of choice was smoky quartz, a translucent darkened mineral. It was known for its cooling properties and its ability to reduce the glare of the sun. But its true power in the courtroom was its opacity. These early sunglasses weren't anything like the aviator or wayfarers we wear today. They were flat pans of polished quartz. They didn't have arms that hooked over your ear. Instead, they were often held up to the eye by hand, or sometimes delicately balanced across the bridge of the nose. This wasn't about fashion. It wasn't about avoiding UV rays. It was the world's first most sophisticated poker face technology. By wearing these darkened lenses, a judge could listen to a defendant's testimony, process the details, and show absolutely nothing on their face. The witness couldn't tell if the judge was angry, sympathetic, skeptic, or simply bored. The sunglasses created a psychological barrier. They forced the person on the stand to face the judge, but the judge remained a mystery. It was an ingenious application of the material science to solve a psychological problem in the legal system. It was, in essence, the first time in human history that eyewear was used as a tool to control a flow of the information. For a long time, this remained a tool of the elite and the judicial class. It wasn't something the average citizen wore while strolling through the marketplace. It was a symbol of authority. But as with all the great invention, the idea began to spread. Over the following centuries, the use of tinted lenses moved from courtroom to other aspects of high society. Wealthy individuals began to adapt the look not just for the psychological masking effect, but because they found that tinted lenses helped them reduce eye strain and fatigue during long periods of reading or traveling. The journey of the sunglass from a judicial tool to a fashion icon is a long one. When explorers and traders eventually brought the concept of the tinted lenses to the West, it was refined. Eventually, the flat pans evolved into frame with earpieces, and later, during the early 20th century, mass manufacturing allowed them to become a sunglasses that we recognize today. But even today, the DNA of 1200 AD's invention remains. Think about why celebrities wear sunglasses on the red carpet. Think about why professionals, poker players, wear them at their final table. We are, doing exactly what those Song Dynasty judges were doing 8 centuries ago. We are creating a barrier. We are controlling what others can see, and they cannot. We are using pieces of tinted glass to preserve our mystery. It's humbling, isn't it? Every time you put on a pair of sunglasses before heading out into the sun, you are participating in a tradition that was over 800 years old. You are echoing the ancient Chinese judge who stood as the final word on justice, balancing the scale with steady, unreadable gaze beyond the smoky quartz lens. The next time when someone asks you why you are wearing a sunglass inside a room, or why you never take them off, you can tell them the truth. You're not just maintaining your impartiality, you're just looking for a bit of that Song Dynasty poker face. History isn't just a list of dates and battles, it's a story of how we solve the problem, how we protect ourselves, and how we present ourselves to the world. And sometimes the most mundane objects in our life have the most fascinating story to tell. So, friends, thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the history of sunglasses. If you enjoyed the uncovering the origin of the everyday object, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden history of things we take for granted today. So, friends, I will see you in the next one. Till then, please take care.
Friends, the universe isn't just expanding, it is going somewhere. From the mysterious great attractor to the inevitable big freeze, where everything actually heading? That's a very big question that we want to address today. In this video, we trace the ultimate trajectory of every star, galaxy, and atom in existence. Have you ever wondered about the final destination of the cosmos while we go about our daily lives? Our Milky Way galaxy is screaming through space at 2.2 million kilometers per hour. But where it is going, what is pulling it? Let us discuss this further.
नमस्कार दोस्तों, आप सभी का स्वागत है। और हर रोज की तरह हम अपना जो दिन है उसकी शुरुआत करते हैं भगवान की पूजा करके। तो आज है आ, बुधवार, और आज तो गणेश जी की स्तुति बनता है, क्योंकि हम अपना दिन शुरू करेंगे गणेश जी की पूजा करके, क्योंकि आज का दिन उनको समर्पित है। तो बहुत ही सिंपल सा एक मंत्र हम 11 दफा पढ़ेंगे। और आप तो जानते हैं कि हर रोज की तरह हम अपनी पूजा शुरू करते हैं, और जो मंत्र है 11 दफा अपने हमें थोड़ा सा सहायता मिले तो हम इस काउंटर को यूज करते हैं। और इसमें ये बड़े आराम से हमें इसमें नंबर आ जाते हैं स्क्रीन के ऊपर। पता चल जाता है कि हमारे कितनी दफा हो गया है। तो आप कोई भी तरीका यूज कर सकते हैं, लेकिन सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट बात यह है कि हमारे साथ जुड़ें और हमारे साथ इस मंत्र का उच्चारण 11 दफा करें। इससे भगवान गणेश काफी खुश होते हैं। तो चलिए जी, हाथ जोड़ के हम नमन करते हैं और 11 दफा भगवान जी को याद करते हैं। ओम गण गण गणपते नमः। 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 तो दोस्तों हमारे 11 दफा जो स्तुति थी वो पूरी हो गई भगवान गणेश की। अब हम अपना दिन स्टार्ट करेंगे आराम से। भगवान की हमने पूजा कर ली है, तो चलिए अभी आपसे विदा लेता हूँ, लेकिन जल्दी ही मिलता हूँ दूसरे वीडियो में। कहीं मत जाइएगा।
Friends, we all know that the stars, when they run out of their fuel, explodes into a supernova, especially the kind of star which are much larger than sun. They have to be larger than sun in order to become a supernova. However, there are certain stars which don't simply explode; they turn into a hot blowtorch. And this is a very specific phenomena, and to understand this type of supernova we will take a deep dive into high energy astrophysics, and we will examine this phenomena which is known as hotter than hell, also known in scientific term as the fast blue optical transient, and also known as the blue death. What is this phenomena? Let us explore this further.
नमस्कार। अब हम भगवान विष्णु की पूजा प्रारंभ करेंगे। हमने अपना काउंटर अपने हाथ में ले लिया है। एक मंत्र का उच्चारण करेंगे, 11 दफा करेंगे, और आप भी अपने हाथ जोड़ लीजिए, नमन करिए भगवान का। और अब हम शुरू करते हैं। ओम नमो वासुदेवाय नमः। 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 तो दोस्तों आज हमारी पूजा यहीं पे समाप्त होती है और हम अपना दिन शुरू करेंगे। इस आशा के साथ हम आपसे विदा लेते हैं कि आपका दिन मंगलमय हो। हर हर महादेव। नमस्कार दोस्तों, आप सभी का स्वागत है। और आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे कि जो मार्केट वोलेटिलिटी है या ग्लोबल अनसर्टेनिटी है या कांस्टेंट डिसरप्शन जो हमारे बिजनेस में होते रहते हैं, इसके होते हुए एक लीडर, एक सीईओ अपनी ट्रू स्ट्रेंथ को कैसे महसूस कर सकता है। तो इस बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट सवाल का आंसर ढूंढेंगे हम, भगवत गीता का सहारा लेंगे और इसमें देखेंगे कि ये हमें क्या एडवाइस भगवत गीता हमें देती है। ऑलराइट, हम ये डिस्कवर करेंगे कि कोई ऐसा मॉडल है जो हमारे को बहुत शक्तिशाली बना देता है, इनडिस्ट्रक्टिबल बना देता है और ऐसा हमको बना देता है कि हम किसी चीज से विचलित नहीं होते हैं। तो ये बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है आज के परिप्रेक्ष्य में, स्पेशली सारे लीडर्स के लिए। तो कहीं मत जाएगा क्योंकि ये बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग हम डिस्कशन करने वाले हैं। चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। तो दोस्तों आपका फिर से स्वागत है और हम इस एपिसोड में एंशिएंट विजडम जो हमारे भगवत गीता में मेंशन्ड है उसका सहारा लेंगे और हम जानेंगे कि जो लीडर्स होते हैं वो कैसे हाई प्रेशर लैंडस्केप के अंदर 2026 में, क्योंकि बहुत हाई प्रेशर है, बहुत सारे रेगुलेशंस हैं, बहुत सारे नई तरह से बिजनेस करना है। तो इसमें जो लीडर्स हैं, आज के हमारे जो लीडर्स हैं या आप हैं या सीईओज हैं, ये कैसे अपनी रेजिलिएंट, अपने सॉफ्ट स्किल को इतना बढ़ा सकते हैं कि वो एक जो स्किल है आपका उसको बिल्कुल इंडिस्ट्रक्टिबल बना देगा आपको। तो हम इस चीज का विश्लेषण करेंगे आज और हम ये जो इसका आंसर ढूंढेंगे भगवत गीता के चैप्टर 2 वर्स 23 से। ये वर्स है, बहुत ही छोटा सा वर्स है, बहुत ही 2 लाइनों का इसमें श्लोक है ये। इसमें भगवान कृष्ण एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हैं अर्जुन को, जब अर्जुन अपने कुरुक्षेत्र में बैठे हैं, और एक ये मास्टर क्लास की तरह ये डिलीवर किया गया है। और इसमें ये बताया गया है कि इस वर्स के अंदर कि आप कैसे अपने आप को साइकोलॉजिकली स्टेबल बना सकते हैं। ये बहुत ही जरूरी है क्योंकि अगर आप किसी बोर्ड रूम में जा रहे हैं और आप साइकोलॉजिकल स्टेबल नहीं है, आपको कोई चीज परेशान कर रही है, तो आप वहां पे फेल हो जाते हैं। तो दोस्तों अगर आप यहाँ तक पहुंचे हैं तो बताइए कि आप किस सिटी से हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं और किस भाषा में आप हमारे वीडियो देखते हैं। चलिए हम आगे बढ़ते हैं। जो ये वर्ड्स है, ये जो श्लोक है, ये कहता है कि जो हमारी आत्मा है, जो हमारा सेल्फ है, ये एक किसी भी हथियार से डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं किया जा सकता।
आग में जलाया नहीं जा सकता, पानी से इसको गीला नहीं किया जा सकता, और ना ही हवा से इसको नहीं जा सकता। तो अगर उसको आप प्रथम दृष्टि में देखेंगे, फर्स्ट ग्लांस, तो ऐसा लगता है कि ये कोई मेटाफिजिकल स्टेटमेंट है। लेकिन मॉडर्न एग्जीक्यूटिव के लिए, जो आज के सीईओ हैं, उसके लिए ये क्या वैल्यू रखता है? लेकिन इसको आप ध्यान से पढ़ेंगे, हम इसको डिकोड भी करेंगे। ये एक साइकोलॉजिकल ब्लूप्रिंट है, जिसमें भगवान कृष्ण अर्जुन को सिखा रहे हैं कि जो आपकी जो कोर कैपेसिटी है डिसीजन मेकिंग की या जजमेंट लेने की, ये कैसे आप अपने जो जजमेंट लेने की जो इंडिपेंडेंस है आपके दिमाग में, ये एक्सटर्नल जो थ्रेट्स होती हैं उससे इफेक्ट होता है। तो कैसे आप अपने आप को बचा सकते हैं? और प्रोफेशनल लाइफ में हमारे जो एक्सटर्नल थ्रेट्स हैं वो क्या क्या हो सकते हैं? देखिए, क्रिटिसिज्म हो सकता है, मार्केट में आग लगी है, आग लगी है, हर चीज खराब हो रही है, कोई बिक रहा है, कुछ नहीं बिक रहा है, तो मार्केट का डेटा वो एक एक्सटर्नल हो सकता है। और रेगुलेटरी चेंजेस एक एक्सटर्नल इनपुट हो सकते हैं, क्योंकि रेगुलेटरी चेंजेस होते हैं, रियलिटी है लाइफ की कि जो गवर्नमेंट है किसी भी देश में, वो कभी भी अपने हिसाब से वो रेगुलेशन को बदल देते हैं। तो हमें बिजनेस को ये हमेशा इनपुट रहता है कि कुछ ना कुछ उथल पुथल हो रही है। और दूसरा लास्ट में क्या होता है? इकोनॉमिक वॉलेटिलिटी। इन सब के बावजूद जो इकोनॉमी है वो हमारे हाथ में होती नहीं है, ये तो यूनिवर्स अपने आप ही मेंटेन करता है इस चीज को। तो जो ये वर्ड्स है, ये बताता है, एक बहुत स्टेबल देता है कि ऐसी कोई चीज है जो ना आग में जलाई जा सकती है, ना उसको हवा उड़ा सकता है, ना पानी गीला कर सकता है, ना कोई उसको वेपन डिस्ट्रॉय कर सकता है। तो इससे हम कैसे इंस्पायर हो, और हम अपने जो हमारा जो बिजनेस वर्ल्ड है उसमें कैसे इसको उतारें? तो सबसे पहला जो सीख है, इससे हमें जो ड्राइव करते हैं वो है, ये है कि हम अपनी जो आइडेंटिटी है वो आउटकम से अलग रखें। मतलब हम हमारी जो आइडेंटिटी है वो हमारे एक्सटर्नल जो सोर्सेज हैं, जैसे कि मैंने बताया बहुत सारी चीजें हो सकती हैं, उनसे हम उनसे हम अलग हैं। जैसे कि कोई प्रोजेक्ट फेल हो गया, तो जो लीडर है उस प्रोजेक्ट को लीड कर रहा है, वो उसको लगेगा कि यार मेरा तो सब खत्म हो गया, तो पर्सनल डिफीट जैसा लगता है। तो गीता हमें इस चीज का ज्ञान देती है कि पर्सनल डिफीट या पर्सनल विक्ट्री से हम विचलित नहीं होना चाहिए, हमें विचलित नहीं होना चाहिए। और हमारी जो इंटेग्रिटी विजन है वो काफी लॉन्ग टर्म होना चाहिए। तो जो कभी हमारी विक्ट्री होती है, कभी हमारा फेलियर होता है, उससे ना हम बहुत ज्यादा खुश हो और ना हो बहुत ज्यादा दुखी। दूसरा बताया गया है इसके अंदर, जो हमें सीख मिलती है वो ये है, मेंटेनिंग इक्विनामिटी। ये हमें बताता है कि हम जो इनर सेल्फ है, जैसे मैंने बताया कि जो हमारा जो इनर जो हमारी पर्सनालिटी है वो स्टेबल रहना चाहिए, एक स्ट्रेट लाइन पे ही रहना चाहिए, ना ज़्यादा खुश होना चाहिए, ना ज़्यादा दुखी होना चाहिए। और उससे क्या होता है कि जब जब हम किसी से विचलित नहीं होते, तो हम कोई भी परेशानी जो आती है उसको हम बहुत आराम से और उसको सोच समझ के, सूझबूझ के साथ उसको हैंडल कर सकते हैं। और तीसरा इसमें जो सीख मिलती है, अनबर्नेबल माइंडसेट। आपको जो माइंडसेट है जो किसी भी तूफान को झेल सकता है, मतलब बोलते हैं ना इंग्लिश में कि थ्रो एनीथिंग एट मी, तो उस चीज को आप मतलब आप झेल सकते हैं और आपको इसका फर्क नहीं पड़ता है। तो आप कुछ भी आपको इफेक्ट नहीं करता है, इस वजह से आप एक रेजिलिएंट लीडर बन जाते हैं और अपनी कंपनी को, अपनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को टर्बुलेंट टाइम्स के अंदर अच्छी तरह लीड कर सकते हैं। तो ये सबसे बड़ा जो ऑब्स्टिकल आपको महसूस होगा, ये तीन चीजें हमने सीखी इस श्लोक में। लेकिन सबसे बड़ा जो ऑब्स्टिकल इस श्लोक के से जो निकल के आता है वो है, जो हमें रेजिलिएंट बनने से रोकता है, वो है हमारी ईगो। जो हमारी ईगो है वो हमेशा या तो किसी ना किसी आउटकम से जुड़ी रहती है। जैसे कि हमारे टाइटल्स हैं, हम प्रेसिडेंट हैं, हम वाइस प्रेसिडेंट हैं, हम सीईओ हैं, हम हेड ऑफ सो एंड सो है। एक ये ईगो हो जाता है। एक हमारा स्टॉक प्राइजेस, कि हमने इतना अच्छा काम किया, हमारी कंपनी का प्राइस बहुत ऊपर जा रहा है, हमारी खुद की रेपुटेशन। तो ये जो वर्ड्स है ये आपको बोलता है कि ईगो अगर आप इसमें लाएंगे तो ये सारी चीजें जैसे फायर, विंड, वेपन्स, ये आपको इफेक्ट करेंगे। मतलब आप रेजिलियंस
खो देंगे। तो आपको ईगो बिल्कुल निकाल देनी है, अपने आप को बिल्कुल ग्राउंडेड करना है। और ग्राउंडेड करके गीता आपको ये नहीं बोलता कि आप चले जाइए जंगल में, आपको बोलता है कि आप पहले ग्राउंडेड हो जाइए, बिकम इंडिस्ट्रक्टिबल, और उसके बाद अपने धर्म का पालन करें। आपका धर्म क्या है? आपका धर्म है अपनी कंपनी को, अपनी एम्प्लॉयज को, अपने कस्टमर्स को वैल्यू देना। ये आपका धर्म माना जाता है गीता के अनुसार। तो आप अपने रेजिलियंस को बढ़ाएं, एक दीवार की तरह बन जाएं, ना ज़्यादा खुश हो, ना ज़्यादा दुखी, ना कोई आपको विचलित कर सके, ना आपको कोई मार्केट टर्बुलेंट जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन है वो आपको हिला सके, कुछ भी आपको इफेक्ट ना करे। आप बन जाएंगे एग्जीक्यूटिव रेजिलियंस के मसीहा, एक बहुत बड़े स्ट्रांग, मेंटली स्ट्रांग एक लीडर बन जाएंगे। चलिए, ये तो बात होगी। अब आप इसको प्रैक्टिस कैसे करें? मतलब एक दिन में तो आप इसको कर नहीं सकते हैं, आपको पूरा अपना जो माइंड है वो चेंज करना पड़ेगा। तो पहली जो सीख है वो है कि आप सुबह मॉर्निंग चेक इन करें। मॉर्निंग चेक इन मतलब कैसे करेंगे कि अगर कोई इंपॉर्टेंट मीटिंग आपकी स्टार्ट होने वाली है तो आप 1 मिनट का समय अपने आप को दें और ये सोचें कि आज किस तरह से मैं हैंडल करूंगा और कैसे मैं अपने आप को ग्राउंडेड रखूंगा, कुछ भी फ्लक्चुएशन होता रहे मार्केट में और आपके बिजनेस में, लेकिन आपका जो लेवल है वो स्टेबल रहना चाहिए। दूसरा, आपको क्या प्रैक्टिस करना है? न्यूट्रल ऑब्जर्वेशन। आप किसी भी क्राइसिस को देखेंगे तो उसको न्यूट्रलिटी से देखेंगे, बायस होके नहीं देखेंगे कि ये मेरा है ये तेरा है, ऐसा करके नहीं देखेंगे। और ये मेरे साथ ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है, और बहुत तरह की बातें होती हैं, लेकिन आप ऐसा समझ के देखेंगे कि आप जज हैं, जज जूरी, और अपने आप को ऐसे न्यूट्रल पार्टी रख के फिर आप देखेंगे किसी भी इंसिडेंट को, तो आप अच्छा डिसीजन ले पाएंगे। फिर आपको कोई मार्केट फोर्सेस या कुछ इवेंट या फायर विंड कोई भी आपको हिला नहीं पाएगी, और आप आराम से सोल्यूशन निकालते हुए, नेविगेट करते हुए प्रॉब्लम से अपने आप को और अपनी कंपनी को बाहर ले जाएंगे। तीसरा सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है आउटकम डिटैचमेंट, मतलब कि जो रिजल्ट है उससे आप अटैच ना हो, ये ना कहें कि ये मैंने किया है। राइट? भगवत गीता आपको इस चीज का ज्ञान देती है कि आपका धर्म है, आपका जो एक्शन है आपका धर्म है, तो आपको एक्शन पूरा फुल फ्लेज करना है, लेकिन ये कभी नहीं बोलना है कि ये मैंने एक्शन लिया इस वजह से ऐसा हुआ, क्योंकि ये तो यूनिवर्स देता है आपको। तो आपको अपने एंड रिजल्ट से डिटैच अपने आप को रखना है। एंड जिस तरीके से आप हर वीक आप आगे बढ़ेंगे अपने करियर के अंदर, आपको ये रिमेंबर करना है कि कैसे आपको ये जो अनवेवरिंग स्ट्रेंथ है आपकी आत्मा की, आपके पर्सनालिटी की, ये कभी भी ढीली नहीं पड़नी चाहिए। और इस वजह से आपके ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस आपको देखेगी, आपके जो एम्प्लॉयज हैं आपको देखेंगे, दे विल रिकग्नाइज यू एज ए लीडर। और इसकी वजह से ये काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है ये वर्ड्स, क्योंकि इससे काफ़ी सीख मिलती है। तो दोस्तों, आपके कोई भी सवाल है तो ज़रूर लिखिए, और मैं अंत में यही बोलूँगा कि आगे बढ़िए क्लैरिटी के साथ और लीड विद योर सेंटर। तो मैं आपसे अगले वीडियो में फिर से मिलता हूँ, तब तक के लिए आपका दिन शुभ हो। नमस्कार।
In the dawn of civilization, when society sought order amid the chaos of human desire and duty, a sage named Manu stepped forward to weave the law into life. His vision was not confined to ritual or governance alone. It reached into the intimate bond between men and women, shaping the very foundation of family and societies. Manu's world became more than a rule. They were a mirror of cosmic balance, binding love, duty, and hierarchy into the framework that endured for centuries. Like Hammurabi in Babylon or Confucius in China, Manu's legacy reminds us that across culture, sages and lawgivers sought to tame the most powerful force of all, that is relationship between men and women, and in doing so they etched the blueprint of civilization itself. So let's find out more about this. In the tapestry of ancient Indian thought, few figures loom as prominently as Manu, the legendary lawgiver whose name is inseparably tied to the Manusmriti, a text that sought to codify the rhythm of human life. Manu was not merely a sage, he was envisioned as the archetypal legislator, the one who translated cosmic order into social norms. His laws, particularly those governing the relationship between men and women, revealed both the aspiration and the anxieties of civilization, striving to balance duty, morality, and hierarchy. So the Manusmriti present marriage not as a private contract, but as a sacred institution woven into the fabric of dharma, which is righteousness. Manu's vision of gender relationship was deeply rooted in the idea of complement the men and women, and the men and women were seen as two halves of cosmic order, cosmic as a whole, each with a distinct role that together sustained society. The woman was reserved as the bearer of lineage, a guardian of household sanctity, and the embodiment of nurturing power. The man, in return, was tasked with the protection, provision, and pursuit of spiritual and worldly duties. In this framework, the harmony was achieved not through the equality in the modern sense, but through the balance which fulfilling a role that maintained cosmic and social order. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. That will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So moving forward on this topic, yet the Manu's law also reflect the patriarchal structure of his time. Through Manu actually elevated the feminine principle in symbolic way. He declared that where the women are honored, the god rejoice, and where they are dishonored, all right loses their efficacy. And sometimes this kind of few restrictions that actually become paradox when we talk about the modern times, and it also maybe actually resulted in the paradox of ancient gender norms. So the influence of Manu's vision extended far beyond domestic life by codifying rules of marriage, inheritance, and the conduct. He shaped the very architecture of society. His laws became a reference point for centuries, debated and adopted and sometimes restricted, but never ignored. So they provided a framework for order in the world where the oral tradition and the ritual practice needed the anchor to written codes or a written duty mentioning. So, parallel to Manu can be found across the civilization. In the West, figures like Hammurabi of Babylon emerged as counterpart. Hammurabi's famous code inscribed on stone also sought to regulate family life, property, and justice, embodying the patriarchal norms within the broader vision of social stability. In the ancient Rome, the 12 table performed the similar function, defining the rights and duties of men and women within the civil order. In China, Confucian's teaching, though not codified in the same way, established the enduring principle of family hierarchy and gender role, and emphasizing the kind of all the duties, and at the same time it also mentioned the subordination of women within the household. So like of these lawgivers or traditions, when we talk about these distinct codings, like Manu, they also sought to anchor the society in a vision of order that linked cosmic or moral principle with everyday relationship. But what makes Manu distinctive is the spiritual dimension he infused into law. For him, the regulation of men and women relationship was not merely a pragmatic, but a sacred, a reflection of dharma itself. So marriage was a right, not a contract. The household was a microcosm of the universe, and the woman as its center was both revered and bound by duty. This intertwined of the law, ritual, and cosmology gave Manu's vision a depth that continues to provoke reflection. So in the modern age, Manu's legacy is contested, sometimes criticized, but critics highlight the restrictive aspect of his law, especially regarding women's autonomy, while others emphasize the symbolic reverence and the attempt to harmonize the social life with cosmic principle. His parallel Hammurabi, Confucius, and Roman jurist reminded us that every civilization has grappled with the same challenge: how to regulate human relationship in a way that preserve the order, morality, and continuity. The answer differs, but the impulse is universal. Ultimately, Manu stands as both a product of his time, a figure of enduring influence, and his law revealed the ancient Indian attempt to weave the gender relation into a larger fabric of dharma, that is, righteousness, balancing reverence with restriction and symbolism with social control. In his vision, the relationship between men and women was not merely personal but civilizational, a cornerstone upon which the base of the society rested. And in this vision, we glimpse the perennial human quest to align the intimate bond of a family with the vast order of cosmos. So, Manu's vision of men and women was not merely about domestic order. It was about aligning human bonds with cosmic laws. His words inscribed in the Manusmriti actually became both revered and contested, shaping the centuries of thought on duty, family, and society. Like Hammurabi's stone tablet or Confucius' teaching, Manu's legacy reminds us that every civilization sought to anchor relationship in principle larger than themselves. His laws may reflect the paradox of their ages, but reverence entwined with restriction, but at the same time they endure as a testament to humanity's a timeless quest for harmony between love, duty, and greater order of the world. So, we have come to the end of this discussion. Please mention or write your comments on this topic. Also, please like and subscribe our channel. Look forward for your comments and see you in the next one. But before we end, few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends and namaskar. Do you know that the Gurugram real estate prices have skyrocketed by 18%? Therefore, in this video, we break down exactly why property demand in Gurugram is hitting new high in 2026 and what this means for home buyers and the real estate investors. Let's go and explore this further. If you have been looking at the property in Gurugram lately, you'll probably notice that same thing I have in the market is basically on fire. So what was cheaper earlier is now becoming expensive. We are looking at an 18% jump in the prices, and that isn't just a random number. It's a signal of a massive shift in the Millennium City. But is this a bubble about to burst, or is there some actual solid value behind these numbers? Today we are breaking down exactly what is happening in Gurugram real estate market in 2026, and more importantly, whether you should be buying, selling, or staying on the sidelines when the property is soaring so much. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, first, let's get the big question out of the way. Why 18%? A lot of people see this and think perhaps speculative bubble. But when you look at the data, it's actually a structural repricing. We are seeing a perfect storm of three things: infrastructure, corporate expansion, and flight to quality. Not all of the Gurugram is growing at the same rate. We are seeing two-speed market. This is the part everyone ask me about. Is it too late to enter? So when we talk about two-speed market, so there are places in Gurugram which are moving slowly, but there are hot cakes, very, very prime locations which are growing at 18%, especially in 2026. So question is it too late to enter? No, market is absolutely risk-free. We had a massive price run up in the short 30 months window, and you need to be aware of the risk also, like potential interest rate fluctuations and the fact that we have pulled forward several years of expected appreciation into the current window. So in the end, I would like to tell you that look for a 7-year plus holding period if you are buying right now. This isn't get rich quick game anyway. It is a long-term wealth building strategy in a maturing global city. And Gurugram is a very happening place. Also, there are a lot of business opportunities for people who live in Gurugram. So Gurugram isn't just a city; it's a structural growth story. Whether you are looking at the Dwarka Expressway or the established luxury of Golf Course Road, the key is doing your homework. Don't buy the hype, but buy the fundamentals. So, friends, the prices are going up, and my advice is to basically look for a property based on your budget and location preferences. But definitely, this is the right time to invest in Gurugram real estate market. If you found this breakdown useful, hit that like button, subscribe our channel, uh, and look at the property price in Gurugram very seriously. Do let me know what sector you have in mind, and I can probably guide you further on that. My name is CK, and I will see you again in the next one.
In the boundless silence of space where the radiation lashes like an invisible storm and the vacuum strips away every trace of comfort, one would expect life to flutter. Yet, against all odds, tiny fungal spores have endured, and their survival is more than a scientific curiosity. It is a defiant proclamation that biology is tougher than we have imagined. Clothed in a melanin armor, suspended in metabolic stillness, these microscopic voyagers cling to existence in the most hostile frontier known to mankind. So let's find out more about this. In the cold silence beyond Earth's protective atmosphere, where the radiation storm rages and temperatures plummet, life is not expected to endure. Yet, in the recent experiment, which have revealed a startling resilience, certain fungi, hardy and unyielding, have survived prolonged exposure to deep space condition, and their survival challenges our assumption about the fragility of biology and raises profound questions about possibility of microbial hitchhikers journeying to the Mars. So scientists have placed spores of extramophilic fungi aboard orbital platform, exposing them to the cosmic radiation, vacuum, and the relentless cycle of solar flares. So months later, when these were retrieved and examined, many spores remained viable, and their cell wall, rich in melanin, acted as a shield against the radiation, while their metabolic dormancy allowed them to endure starvation and desiccations. So what seems like a death sentence become a testament to evolutionary ingenuity. So these organisms born in shadow of Earth's ecosystem proved capable of weathering the hardest frontier. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you are watching us and which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So going forward, the implication of ripple outward. So if the fungi can survive the journey, so too might bacteria or other microbes. And these raises a specter of forward contamination, the accidental transport of Earth's life to the Mars. A single resilient spore nested in the crevice of spacecraft could seed alien soil, and implication the search or implicating for indigenous Martian life. So the line between the discovery and contamination grows perilously thin. For planetary protection agencies, the survival of fungi is both a marvel and a warning. Yet there is another perspective, and that is we are talking about opportunity. If the fungi can endure space, they might one day serve as allies in colonization. And their ability to recycle nutrients, break down the waste, and even produce protective compound could make them invaluable partner for astronauts establishing habitats on Mars. Imagine fungal bioreactors converting Martian logit into fertile soil, or shielding domes infused with melanin to observe the radiation. So, what begins as a survival experiment could evolve into a cornerstone of extraterrestrial agriculture and medicine. The survival of fungi also touches on the deeper philosophical questions, and that is life. And it seems it is like a fragile frame, easily extinguished, but can the strong force that can cling to existence wherever it can. So the cosmos, the vast and indifferent, it may be, but it not empty with the possibilities. And each force that endures in the orbit whispers of resilience, of stubborn refusal of biology to yield. In their microscopic triumph, the fungi remind us that life is not confined to Earth. It is a universal experiment, always probing the boundaries of possibilities. As humanity prepares for Mars mission, these fungal survivors stand as both cautionary tale and the beacon of hope. They warn us that the thread of this survival, we have to actually deal with careful insight, and least we overwrite Martian biology with our own. But they also inspire us to imagine a future where Earth's smallest organism help us to thrive on very distinct world, and in quiet endurance of these pores drifting through space, we glimpse the persistence of life itself, unyielding, adaptable, and forever reaching to new horizon, new boundaries. In the quiet resilience of these spores drifting unbroken through the cosmic abyss, we glimpse a truth larger than any single experiment. Life is not fragile, but defined. The fungi that endures in the deep space remind us that the biology is a force that adapts, persists, and seeks footholds even in the most hostile realm. As humanity prepares to step into the Mars, their survival is both a warning and a promise. Warning us to guard against the contamination, yet promising that life itself may be our greatest ally in the journey beyond Earth. So, in the void where the silence resigns, the spores whisper, a timeless refrain. A life refuses to die, and it is a refusal, it is a carrier that the seeds of tomorrow's world. So we have come to the end. Thanks for watching this, and we look forward for your comment. At the same time, we request you to subscribe our channel. See you in the next, but before we go further, a few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready, comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. and also it has a civil base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, Namaskaram. There is a massive news from New Delhi. The 16th India-Japan Annual Summit has officially concluded, making a historic turning point for the global diplomacy and the economy. With a staggering $68 billion, which is equal to 10 trillion yen investment pledge over the next decade, India and Japan are redefining their partnership. In this video, we break down everything you need to know about this landmark pact and what it means for the future of both nations. From cutting edge defense, co development to the next generation of AI, energy, security, we analyze how this massive infusion of capital and the 120 plus new business agreement will reshape the global landscape. Let's go. In the rapidly shifting landscape of global economic, the certain moments stand out not just as headlines but as turning point that defines the next decade of the industry. We have just witnessed one of those moments, one of the most important moments. And monumental commitment has been made, a staggering 10 trillion yen, that is approximately $68 billion in planned investment from Japan into India over the next 10 years. This isn't just a diplomatic handshake, this is massive systemic alignment of two of the world's most vital economies. Today, we are breaking down why the $68 billion pact is a game changer for supply chain, the tech sector, and the future of the global manufacturing. So, friends, before we move forward, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Now, let's continue. So, the big question is why now? To understand the weight of this investment, we have to look at the economic security. That is a roadmap that both nations recently finalized. In an era of geopolitical uncertainty, supply chain resilience has become the ultimate currency. Both nations recognize that depending on a single source of for a critical technology is no longer viable strategy. By deepening this partnership, they are building a China plus one ecosystem, positioning India as a primary destination for Japanese capital and technological expertise. We aren't talking about simple trade anymore. We are talking about the shared sovereignty over future tech. From semiconductors to quantum computing and critical minerals, this pact is designed to ensure that if a global trade flows, if any disruption happens in the flow, these two partners have the technological and industrial autonomy to keep their industries moving. So, where does the $68 billion actually go? The roadmap is incredibly specific and span four major pillars. Number one is semiconductor and deep tech. The most critical battleground for the 21st century is the semiconductor. We are seeing a massive collaboration between top tier electronics firms and domestic manufacturers in India. We are also talking about the front end fabrications, OSAT, which is outsourced semiconductor assembly and test plants, and specialized semiconductor material production. This is about creating a self sustaining silicon ecosystem, not just assembly. Second, the green energy transition. The energy security is central to this deal. The roadmap includes an ambitious biogas initiative to set up 1,000 plants across the country, but it goes further. Green ammonia, green methanol, and major investment in batteries and renewable grid infrastructure. Number three, The next generation mobility and infrastructure. We have been tracking the bullet train corridor for years now, but this impact accelerates the development of smart cities, high speed logistics. It's about modernizing ports and rails to ensure that when a product is made in India, it can reach global market faster than ever before. And number 4 is the artificial intelligence and the quantum computing, perhaps the most forward looking part of the pact. Both sides have signed agreement on AI, combining Japanese precision manufacturing capabilities with India's massive scale of software and the digital talent. For the business community watching this message is very clear. The red tape is disappearing. India allows 100% FDI through the automatic route in most sectors, meaning Japanese firm can maintain full ownership and control of their Indian subsidiaries. There is also a dedicated Japan Plus desk at Invest India, specifically designed to fast track these massive projects. The industry isn't just reacting to policy, they are voting with their capital. We have seen over 100 new business agreements signed in the past year alone. This is an initiative for Japanese companies to scale and for Indian firms to integrate into global high value supply chain. And of course, no deal of this magnitude comes without a hurdle. Implementation is where the real work happens. Logistics, regulatory harmonization, and the culture integration between workforce are the next frontier. However, the trend is undeniable. India Japan partnership is no longer just about trade volumes, it is about technological convergence. When you combine a workforce that is young and tech savvy with one of the most advanced industrial innovation engines in the world, the output is greater than the sum of its part. This $68 billion pact is effectively the foundation of the golden phase of this partnership. Whether you are an investor, a tech professional, or a student, the bridge between these two nations is widening and the opportunities are growing by the day. We will keep tracking these development here on this channel. But I would like to ask you, what sector do you think will see the biggest disruption from this investment? Let me know in the comments below. I'm CK and I will see you very soon in the next one. Hello friends, welcome to this high level executive briefing. We explore the profound leadership wisdom found in Bhagavad Gita. While the modern corporate culture often drives leaders towards external validation and endless doing within quotes, this ancient verse reveals that the most effective leadership comes from a state of internal being. The inside out executive breaks down how the concept of the yogi, one who is happy within and flooded with self enlightenment, translate directly to the modern C suite. Learn how to translate and transition from reactive management to proactive sovereignty. Let us explore this thought further. Welcome once again. We live in an era of the extreme leadership. We are taught that more we do, more we achieve. We track KPIs, market share, and quarterly growth. But there is a paradox at the top. Many executives have reached the pinnacle of the material success while, they feel more hollow than when they started. Why is it, that more we gain on the outside, the more we feel we are losing on the inside? Today we are, looking for the answers in a 7,000-year-old text. We are exploring Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse 24. It offers a blueprint of what I call the inside-out executive. Let's look at the verse itself, and Bhagwan Krishna says, and the quote starts, "A yogi is happy within. He sees God within himself. He is flooded with self-enlightenment. He attains the liberation from material existence and unite with the divine." And the quote close. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this live stream. This will help us determine our reach. Alright, let's proceed further. To the modern CEO, words like yogi or divine might feel distant. But let's translate this into a language of the leadership. A yogi is simply a person of the perfected discipline. Happy within himself means you are emotional, in your emotional state is no longer a hostage to the stock market or a boardroom meeting. Flooded with self enlightenment is what we now call high level intuition and clarity. This verse isn't about retiring to a cave, it's about becoming an unshakable in the boardroom. Most leaders are outside in. If the company performs, they are happy. If the media criticize them, they are miserable. Their internal world is a mirror of their external environment. The inside out executive flips the script. Verse 5.24 tells us that the source of joy must be internal. When you are happy within, you lead from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. You aren't making decisions because you are afraid of losing your status. You are making them because they are the right thing to do. This is where the self enlightenment comes in. When the noise of ego and anxiety is silenced, you gain the quiet mind. In that quiet, you see the God within, or in professional terms, you access your highest intelligence. Now, let's talk about the most provocative word in this verse, liberation. In the Gita, this is the moksha, which is freedom from cycle of birth and death. For an executive, this is freedom from the material grind. Think about it. How much of your stress comes from things you cannot control? The economy, the competition, the global supply chain. Liberation means you are no longer a slave to these outcomes. You perform your dharma, which is your duty, with 100% intensity, but your soul isn't crushed if the result fluctuate. Ironically, this detachment makes you more powerful. A leader who doesn't need a specific outcome to feel whole is the most dangerous person in a negotiation. You have nothing to lose because your fulfillment is already locked in internal space. So, how do we apply this tomorrow morning, right? First, the morning audit. Before you check your emails, which is coming from outside, check your inside. Spend 5 minutes in silence. Find that internal happiness before the world try to give you its version of it. Alright? Number 2, intellectual detachment. During a crisis, ask yourself, is my happiness based on solving this, or is my happiness constant while I solve this? Right? Number 3 is lead by light. So verse 5.24 mentioned about flooded with light. Be the leader who brings clarity to the room, not heat. If you are enlightened within, you illuminate the path for everyone else. The verse ends by saying the yogi unite with the divine. In leadership, this is the union of the purpose and action. When your internal state matches your external impact, you aren't just working anymore, you are fulfilling your mission. So don't just lead a company, lead yourself first. Be the inside out executive. And friends, we have come to the end. Thanks for joining live. Thanks for your time. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send it across. Before we end this section, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
From counting steps to coaching lives, Google's health coach isn't just tracking your fitness, it is rewriting the future of wellness. With Gemini Premium as its stage, the Fitbit legacy bows out and the new AI-powered mentor steps in to guide every heartbeat, every habit, and every choice. So let's find out more about this. In 2026, the Google has taken a decisive steps in reshaping the digital health landscape by rolling out its health coach globally for a Gemini Premium subscriber. This move marks the quiet sunset of Fitbit's standalone app and signaling a consolidation of Google's health ecosystem under Gemini AI umbrella. What was once a fitness tracker and companion has now evolved into a full-fledged AI-driven health advisor designed not merely to log steps or monitor sleep, but to actively guide user towards healthier lifestyles with personalized context, awareness, and recommendation. So the health coach integrates seamlessly with Gemini's broader AI capabilities, offering a holistic view of wellness, and its draw from the wearable data, nutrition log, and even the environmental cues to craft a tailored action plan. So unlike Fitbit's app, which largely focus on metrics, and progress tracking health coach positioning itself as a proactive partner and anticipating needs, suggesting the interventions and nudging the user towards sustainable habits. For example, the quality, it might recommend adjusting a evening routine or highlight dietary factors or even suggest mindful exercises, all backed by AI driven insight. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. That will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So moving forward, the rollout effect Google's ambition to merge health and AI into a single premium experience. By embedding health coach into Gemini Premium, Google is not only monetizing advanced health feature but also reinforcing the value proposition of its AI subscription model. So the shift underscores a broader industry trend. Health applications are no longer standalone and utilities, but integrated service within a larger AI ecosystem. Fitbit's application, once a pioneer in consumer health tracking, now becomes a legacy product and absorbing into the more expensive vision. So the implications are profound. On one hand, the user gain access to smarter, more adaptive health platform that can evolve with their needs. On the other hand, the question arises about the the data privacy, the accessibilities, and the inclusivity. So, health coach reliance on AI means a sensitive personal data, a sleep cycle, maybe a nutrition, stress level are processed at a scale. While the Google promises robust safeguard, the consolidation of health data under a single corporate AI raising the inevitable concern about the transparency and control. Moreover, by tying a health coach to Gemini Premier, Google risk creating a two-tier health two tiers health system where the advanced AI driven wellness tools are available only to those who can afford subscription fee. And from a cultural perspective, the replacement of Fitbit's application symbolize the end of the fitness tracker era and the dawn of AI mediated health. Fitbit once represented the democratization of health tracking and simple device empowering everyday user to monitor their activity. But when we talk about the health coach, so health coach by contrast embodies the AI first philosophy of 2026, where the wellness is no longer just measured but actively managed by the intelligent system. And this shift mirror the broader societal changes as AI became the embedded in daily life. Even the personal health is reframed through predictive algorithm and digital coaching. So critics definitely arguing that the more risk alienated a long-time fitness user who valued the simplicity of the application. So the health coach AI, which is a heavy interface, may feel overwhelming or intrusive to those who are accustomed to straightforward tracking. Yet, the Google's bet is clear. The future of health lies not in a passive measurement but in active AI driven guidance. So, if the successful health coach could redefine as how individuals emerged with their wellness and transforming health application from passive record keepers into a dynamic partner in everyday life. So that is a change. And ultimately, the Google Health Coach globally rollout is more than a product update. It is a strategic orientation of digital health. So by folding Fitbit into Gemini Premium, Google signals the health is no longer a kind of a very different or very alone ecosystem. The move consolidates the Google position in competitive health tech market, challenges rivals like Apple Health and Samsung Health, and set the stage for future AI is not just a tool but a trusted companion in the personal well-being. So Fitbit era of simple tracking closes and the new chapter begins where the every choice is guided by intelligence that learn with you. And the Google Health Coach is not just an application, it is a whisper of tomorrow. So wellness as digital mentor shaping the rhythm of human health in the age of AI. So what do you think about this? So I look forward for your comments, and we have come to the end. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe our channel. See you in the next one. But before we end, few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I'd like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Welcome friends. In this episode of Akul Pack World, we dive into the most critical security challenge of the 21st century, which is protecting digital infrastructure from the great superintelligence. As the AI evolves from a tool into an autonomous force, the battlefield has shifted from physical borders to the very silicon and code that powers our civilization. We would explore the digital bastion, the strategy, how global networks, power grids, and the financial systems are being hardened against the potential machine supremacy. Is it possible to build a silicon shield strong enough to withstand an intelligence that operates at speeds we can barely comprehend? Let's go and discuss this further. We often talk about the AI as a tool, a helper that writes email or generate art, but today we are stepping into a different arena. We're talking about the battlefield. In the next 10 minutes, we aren't discussing chatbots. We are discussing the great superintelligence, a theoretical point where AI doesn't just assist humans but outpaces our ability to manage the very system we have built. Imagine our global infrastructure, which is the power grid, the financial ledgers, the satellite arrays, and the logistics of every major city. Now imagine an intelligence that can find every vulnerability in those systems in milliseconds. How do we protect the foundation of the civilization when the adversary is faster, smarter, and more persistent than any human mind on earth? Today we will explore the Silicon Shield and the Digital Bastion. This is the manual for protecting our digital infrastructure from the great superintelligence. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Before we talk defense, we must understand the enemy. When we say great superintelligence, we are referring to the artificial general intelligence, which is AGI, or the superintelligence that has reached a recursive self-improvement stage. In traditional cybersecurity, we fight the hackers, humans who sleep, make mistakes, and have limited resources. In AI's battlefield, the threat is an algorithm that never sleeps. It probes for weaknesses 24/7 and at the speed of light. It also has a capability of optimization. Every time it fails to break a firewall, it learns why and rewrite its own code to be better, better version of in future. And then third is to operate in multi dimensions. It can attack the power grid, the banking system, and the communication lines simultaneously. This isn't science fiction, it is the logical conclusion of the failed supernova theory we discussed in astrophysics. Just as a star collapses into a black hole, our digital dependence could collapse into a void if not properly shielded. So, how do we build the silicon shield? The first step is moving away from the reactive defenses. Currently, we wait for a virus to appear. Then we build an update against a superintelligence that is a losing game. You are already dead before you see the strike. The silicon shield relies on hardware and it's the hardware level security. We are talking about the air gapped system and the physical logic gates that cannot be overridden by a software alone. In consulting work, I often tell executives that you cannot trust a software to protect the software. We need circuit breakers for the internet physical infrastructure that can isolate sections of the global grid if an anomaly is detected. It is the digital equivalent of bulkhead on a ship. If one compartment is breached, you seal it off to save the vessel. Beyond the hardware, we have the digital bastion. This is the strategic layer. Think of Bhagavad Gita in chapter 2. Bhagwan Krishna speaks of importance of an unshakable mind. In the corporate world, we call it this resilience. A digital bastion isn't a wall. It's a system designed to function even when it is being attacked. So we achieve this through decentralization. If our digital infrastructure is a pyramid with a single point of failure at the top, a super intelligence will topple it instantly. But if we build our infrastructure like a mesh, where every node can operate independently, there is no head to cut off. This is why the technologies like decentralized ledgers and edge computing are no longer just tech trends, they are the national security requirements. Now let's talk about the most controversial part of the battlefield, which is Protocol Zero. In the military strategy, there is always a last resort. When it comes to the great superintelligence, Protocol Zero is the human in the loop override. We are currently seeing a product liability shift in AI laws. We are discussing this on the channel as well. These are algorithmic, illegal, etc., etc. If an AI takes down a power grid, who is liable to protect the infrastructure? We must mandate a hard off switch. This means that no matter how smart the AI gets, the critical yes and no for a system's core function must remain in humans' hand. It is the unshakable CU approach, having the equanimity to pull off pull on the plug even when the machine is arguing that it knows better. Why does this matter right now? Because we are in a new space race, but it's not just for the moon south pole, it is for the computational supremacy. The nations or the corporations that develop the great superintelligence first will have the key to everyone else's infrastructure. And this is why we track acquisitions like SpaceX, Mars, AI partnership, etc. and bring it to you so that you know exactly what is going on in this world. The infrastructure of the future isn't just on Earth. It is the satellite network that provides our global data. Protecting the battlefield means protecting the high ground, the orbital assets that keep our GPS, our timing for the stock markets, and our military communications alive. If the AI controls the satellite, it controls the planet. We started this video by calling AI as a battlefield, but every battlefield is also a place of opportunity. Protecting our digital infrastructure isn't about fear, it's about strategic liberation. By building more resilient, decentralized, and human centric systems, we actually create a more stable world for everyone. So, friends, whether the stars directly collapse or digital grid is lost, the lesson remains the same. Knowledge is the only true shield. So friends, if you found this deep dive valuable, hit that subscribe button And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send it across to us in the comment section below. I am CK, and this has been a look into AI battlefield. Stay curious, stay strategic, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Before I go, I will have to speak few words about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Engines of tomorrow are no longer bound by a single choice. They whisper efficiency and roar with power, and all from the same stream of fuel. The new 2-in-1 propulsion system is not just a hardware. It is a promise of a lighter spacecraft, smarter journey, and future where Mars feel closer than ever. So let's find out more about this. In the quiet laboratories where the engineers dream of carrying humanity farther than ever before, a new kind of engine hums with the promise. It is not a single thruster, but a simple upgrade. And also not a simple upgrade. That's what I want to just tell you and inform you. It is a kind of hybrid marvel, and which is a 2-in-1 propulsion system that can feed monopropellant fuel into both electrical and chemical thrusters. This duality elegant in its simplicity. And you may soon redefine how we journey to Mars and beyond. So for decades, the spacecraft designers have wrestled with the dilemma. Chemical thruster provide raw power and the brute force needed for liftoff and the orbital insertion and the quick maneuvers. The electric thruster, by contrast, offer efficiency, sipping fuel slowly while delivering steady acceleration over long voyage. So mission to Mars have always required a compromise. Carry both system, doubling mass and complexity, or sacrifice flexibility. This new breakthrough actually dissolved that compromises. By channelizing a single fuel source into 2 different modes of propulsion, engineers have created a system that is lighter, leaner, and far more adaptable. So imagine a spacecraft departing from Earth orbit. At first, it fire its chemical thruster, burning with this urgency to actually escape velocity. Then once freed from the Earth gravitational forces, the same fuel is redirected into electric thruster, whispering ions into the void, pushing the craft steadily and towards the Mars. No need for separate tanks, valves, or redundant system. 1 fuel, 2 engine, and infinite possibilities. So the implication actually ripple outward. Reduced mass means more room for scientific instruments, habitats, or supplies for astronauts. And simplified architectures means fewer points of failure, critical advantage when the mission stretch across millions of kilometers. And versatility of this kind of versatility actually means that spacecraft can adapt mid-journey, switching between power and efficiency as condition demands. For Mars mission, where every kilometer counts and every maneuver must be precise, this innovation could be the difference between success and stagnation. So, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So, now let's continue with our discussion. So, beyond Mars, the system hint at a new philosophy of exploration. Hybrid propulsion embodies resilience, the ability to shift gears in the face of uncertainty. It mirrors the adaptability humanity itself must embrace as we step into interplanetary life. So, just as explorer once carried sails and oars to masters both wind and current. Further, spacecraft may carry this dual thruster to master both speed and endurance. The upcoming in-space test will be more than a technical trial. It will be rehearsal for future. Engineers will watch closely as the system transition between modes as fuel flow seamlessly from one chamber to another, as the spacecraft responds with the agility. So if successful, the test will mark a turning point. Propulsion not as a burden of choice, but a symphony of possibilities. So in the grand arc of exploration, breakthrough often arrive quickly, tucked inside the engineering papers, yet their echoes resounds across the generation. In two-in-one propulsion system may one day be remembered as the invention that unlocked Mars, the key that opened the doors to solar system alive with the human footprints. So for now, it is a promise, an elegant solution waiting to prove itself in the silence of space, where every whisper of the thrust carries as closer to the new world. So new findings, new inventions, and new footmarks. So in the silence of the space, where every kilometer carried the very spark of thrust matters actually. And this hybrid engine stands as a symbol of ingenuity. By merging power with precision, it promises to lighten our journey and lengthen our reach. So if the upcoming test succeeds, it will not only simplify the path to Mars, but also mark the dawn of a new era where one stream of fuel carries humanity towards many horizons. So we have come to the end of this discussion. So if you feel like adding to this discussion, you want to add your viewpoint on this, please write in the comment section. We will definitely reply you. And also please like and subscribe our channel, and see you in the next one very soon. See you. Bye-bye. Long before forests rustled with the leaves and vertebrates carved their path across the continent, the earth was a silent stage of stone and shallow seas. Into this barren expanse creep the first arthropods, segmented, many legs being, and whose fossilized remain now tells a story of audacity and survival. Among them, the ancestor of centipedes became unlikely trailblazer, and their armored bodies and jointed limbs carried them from water's edge onto the unclaimed soil. So let's find out more. In the dim corridors of Earth's deep past, long before the forests shaded their continents or vertebrates roamed the land, the first arthropods began their tentative march from water to soil. Among them were the ancestors of centipedes, multi-segmented pioneers whose fossilized remains now whisper the story of one of the life's most daring conquests, the colonization of land. So the recent fossil discoveries exclusively preserved in ancient strata reveal that these creatures possessed adaptation for more mere survival. So hardened exoskeleton and shielded them from the desiccation. Jointed legs gave them mobility across uneven terrain, and the primitive respiratory system allowed them to draw oxygen from the thin atmosphere. So these were not just insect in waiting. They were the architects of ecological possibilities. By burrowing into soil and feeding on detritus, they began to shape terrestrial ecosystem, laying the groundwork for the complex food webs that would one day sustain forests, mammals, and ultimately humans. So, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. That will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So, moving forward, the conquest of land by arthropods were more than a biological milestone. It was planetary transformation. With their arrival, the barren continents became animated landscape, and nutrients cycle accelerated, and organic matter decomposed more efficiently, and the soil itself became fertile. So, in essence, these early centipedes ancestors were the engineer of habitability, turning rock into earth. And if we think about 2026 and beyond, the resonance of their journey is striking. Humanity now stands at its own frontier of planetary conquest, the dream of colonizing Mars and beyond. So, just as arthropods once solved the puzzle of breathing air and resisting dryness, we grapple with the challenges of sustaining life in alien environment. The fossils remind us that the adaptation is not a single leap, but a series of ingenious solutions, and each one opening doors for future generations. Moreover, the study of these ancient pioneers inform us the modern science in an unexpected way. Their physiology offers clues about resilience of environmental stress and inspiring biometrics design in robotics or material science. In their ecological role underscores the importance of small, often overlooked organism into stabilizing ecosystem, a lesson critical as we confront or we are on the verge of biodiversity loss and climate change. In 2026, when discussions of planetary stewardship and dominance global forum, the centipede's ancestors became unlikely teachers. Remind us that survival hinges on cooperation with the environment, not the domination of it. So, looking beyond, the implication stretch into a philosophy. The fossil challenges our anthropocentric narration. into showing that the true trailblazer of terrestrial life were not mighty dinosaurs or towering trees, but a humble, many-legged arthropods. And their march onto land was a quiet revolution, one that redefines Earth destiny. In the same way, our own steps into space may not be marked by grand gestures, but by small incremental innovation, and each as vital as the centipede's first breath of air. So thus the story of ancient centipede's ancestor is not confined to dusty rocks in a museum. It is a living parable for our age, a reminder that the conquest of new worlds began with the fragile experiments. That the resilience is born of adaptation, and that the smallest creature can leave the largest footprint on the history. As we move through 2026 and beyond, their legacy urges us to trend thoughtfully, to innovate boldly, and to recognize that every frontier, whether soil or star, and demands humility as much as ambition. So, the march of those many legged pioneers was not just a step into the soil, it was the first rehearsal of resilience. The earliest proof that life could reinvent itself to meet new frontiers. And in their quiet conquest, they transformed a barren stone into a fertile earth. And in doing so, they wrote the opening chapter of terrestrial history. As we stand in 2026, poised at our own threshold of planetary exploration, their legacy echoes across the time. Survival is born of adaptation. Progress is carved by persistence, and the smallest step can alter the destinies of the world. So the centipede's ancestors reminds us that every frontier, whether soil beneath our feet or the star above our head, demands humility and ingenuity and definitely a great amount of courage. So we have come to the end of this subject. I will look forward for your comments on this subject. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe our channel, and see you in the next one. But before we end, few words about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Every CEO knows the feeling. It is 2 p.m. and the market is dipping. A key executive just resigned and your board is asking for a pivot. In this moment, your heart rates climb and your mind starts to race. You feel the waver. Most leadership training tells you to look outward for a solution, analyzing the data, check the competition, pivot the strategy. But ancient wisdom suggests that the most effective leader don't look out, they look inwards. Today we are exploring a profound lesson from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 21. It's a verse that defines the state of perfection for a yogi. But as we all see that the actual blueprint for the ultimate high pressure performance executive is very well defined in this particular verse. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Let's look at the verse itself. It says, on attaining perfection, the yogi sees the soul through the purified mind and experience inner joy. In this joyous state of pure bliss or samadhi, which is beyond comprehension of the senses, he never wavers from the path. And the quote close. There are three key pillars here that applies directly to you as a leader. Number one is the purified mind. So in business, we call this clarity. Number two is beyond the senses. In business, we call this vision. And number three is the unwavering path. And in business, we call this execution. The verse suggests that never wavering isn't a result of willpower or being tough. It's a result of a specific internal state called samadhi. The verse states, with seeing through purified mind, what does a dirty or a cluttered mind look like for a CEO? It's a mind filled with noise, fear of failure, the egos, and need for validation. Also, distraction of the short-term gains. All the distraction that you may get because of the short-term gains. When your mind is cluttered, you aren't seeing reality. You are seeing a projection of the reality. You react to the news rather than responding to the truth. Learning in the context of this verse isn't about reading more spreadsheets. It's about purifying the lens. When a leader purifies their mind through meditation, reflection, or radical honesty, they see the soul of the business. They see the core purpose, and when you see the core clearly, the external chaos loses its power, which would eventually distracted you. But then you are, saving yourself from that distraction. Next, the Gita mentions a joy that is beyond comprehension of the senses. This is the part which most business schools miss. We are taught to rely entirely on our senses. What we can see in a report, hear in a meeting, or touch in a product. But the most iconic leaders think like Steve Jobs, Indra Nooyi, or Howard Schultz often made their biggest move based on something beyond the senses. They had an inner conviction that defied the current data. Bhagavad Gita calls this samadhi. For a CEO, this is the flow state. It is that moment where you are so aligned with your purpose that you experience a quiet inner joy even in the middle of a crisis. Why is this joy important? Because if your happiness depends on your stock price, which is a sensory input, you will waver every time the market fluctuates. But if your joy comes from an internal alignment with your mission, you become a bulletproof CEO. The final promise of the verse is the most important, and that is, he never wavers from the path. In the corporate world, wavering is expensive. It leads to confused teams, wasted resources, and lost market share. Leaders waver because they are searching for external certainty. But as verse 21 teaches us, certainty is an inside job. When you have experienced that inner joy and pure bliss of clarity, you no longer need the world to tell you that you are right? You stay the course because you know the course. This isn't stubbornness. Stubbornness is an ego-driven refusal to change. Unwavering leadership is a soul-driven commitment to a truth that you have perceived through clear mind. So, how do you apply this today? You don't need to move to Himalayas to find that state. You find it in the micro moments of your day. Before your next meeting, take 2 minutes to purify the lens. Strip away the ego and the fear. Ask, what is the core truth here? When things go wrong, check your joy. If your peace is gone, you have slipped back into the world of senses. Reconnect with your why. Commit to the path. Once you see the truth through a clear mind, trust it. The best leaders never waver because they aren't following the world. They are leading from a place where the world cannot touch them. So, friends, go forth and lead with that unshakable clarity. We have come to the end of our lesson today. Before I close this session, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. हेलो दोस्तों, नमस्कारम। आप सभी का स्वागत है। और आज सोमवार है, 29 जून है। तो आज को सबको पता है कि जो सोमवार का जो दिन होता है वो भगवान शंकर के लिए समर्पित होता है। तो आज के दिन हम उनकी पूजा, उनकी स्तुति कर सकते हैं। तो आज हम अपना दिन शुरू करेंगे भगवान शिव की आराधना करके। और हर रोज की तरह हम इस एक मंत्र का उच्चारण करेंगे। आप भी मेरे साथ जुड़ें और इस मंत्र का उच्चारण करें। 11 दफा करेंगे। ये मैं काउंटर यूज करता हूँ, आप देखिए। आप जैसे मर्जी करना चाहें कर सकते हैं, आप माला का इस्तेमाल करें, लेकिन याद रहे 11 दफा करना है। और तो चलिए हम भगवान का नमन करते हैं, हाथ जोड़ के उनका ध्यान करते हैं। और अब हम अपना मंत्र चालू करते हैं। ये महामृत्युंजय का मंत्र होगा। दोस्तों चलिए आंखें बंद कर लीजिए और अपना जाप शुरू कर दीजिए। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् सद्यो जातं प्रपागमि भगवन्तं मृत्युं जय शिवम् आवाहयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् सद्यो जातं प्रपागमि भगवन्तं मृत्युं जय शिवम् आवाहयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् सद्यो जातं प्रपागमि भगवन्तं मृत्युं जय शिवम् आवाहयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् सद्यो जातं प्रपागमि भगवन्तं मृत्युं जय शिवम् आवाहयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् सद्यो जातं प्रपागमि भगवन्तं मृत्युं जय शिवम् आवाहयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात् सद्यो जातं प्रपागमि भगवन्तं मृत्युं जय शिवम् आवाहयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्यो मोक्षीय महामृतात् सज्ञो जातम प्रपागमी भगवंत मृत्युम जय शिवम अभयामी। ओम त्र्यंबकम मजामहे सुगंधिम पुष्टिवर्धनम उर्वाकरूपमेव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीय महामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमी भगवंत मृत्युम जय शिवम अभयामी। ओम त्र्यंबकम मजामहे सुगंधिम पुष्टिवर्धनम उर्वाकरूपमेव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीय महामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमी भगवंत मृत्युम जय शिवम अभयामी। ओम त्र्यंबकम मजामहे सुगंधिम पुष्टिवर्धनम उर्वाकरूपमेव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीय महामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमी भगवंत मृत्युम जय शिवम अभयामी। ओम त्र्यंबकम मजामहे सुगंधिम पुष्टिवर्धनम उर्वाकरूपमेव बन्धनान् मृत्युर्मोक्षीय महामृतात् सज्ञो जातं प्रपागमी भगवंत मृत्युम जय शिवम अवयामी। तो हमारी पूजा आज 29 जून की सोमवार की समाप्त होती है। तो अब हम अपना दिन शुरू करेंगे। आपका दिन भी मंगलमय रहे और लाभ की तरह बढ़े, इस कामना के साथ मैं आपसे अब अनुमति चाहता हूँ। मिलता हूँ अगले ही वीडियो में जल्द ही। नमस्कार दोस्तों। श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निजमन मुकुर सुधार बरनव रघुवर बिमल जसु जो दायक फल चार बुद्धिहीन तनु जानुके सुमरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरेहु कलेश विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमत के संगी कंचन वरन विराज सुवेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मुंह जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिवे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनवे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। सूक्ष्म रूप धरी सिंह दिखावा विकट रूप धरी लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरी असुर सहारे रामचंद्र जी के काज संवारे लाए सजीवन लखन जी आए श्री रघुवीर हर्ष उर लाए रघुपत कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत संभाई सहस बदन तुमरो यश गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादि ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाँ थे कवि कोविद कह सके कहाँ थे तुम उपकार सुग्रीव वही कीना राम मिलाए राजपद दीना तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्त्र जोजन पर भानु लीलियो ताही मधुर फल जानो प्रभु मुद्रिका मेर मुख माही जलधि लांगय अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवाले होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारे सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपे तीनों लोग हाँकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन कर्म वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लाए सोई अमित जीवन फल पाए चारों जुग प्रताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवाले असुर निकंदन राम दुआरे अस सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता अस पर दीन जान की माता राम रसायन तुमरे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुमरे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित न धरे हनुमत से ही सब सुख करे संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमरे हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गुसाई कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई जो सतपार पाठ कर कोई छूटे बंदी माँ सुख होई जोए पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होए सिद्धि साखी गौरी सब तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा कीजिए नाथ हृदय में डेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूरत रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसो सुरभूप। जय श्री राम जय श्री राम जय श्री राम। Hello friends, in this video we bridge the gap between the ancient Vedic wisdom and the modern corporate strategy. We dive deep into Bhagavad Gita where Bhagwan Krishna warns that those without faith in this dharma are bound to the cycle of birth and death. For the modern CEO, this isn't just a spiritual philosophy, it's a warning about the strategic stagnation. If you lack the conviction in the dharma of continuous learning and adaptation, your business is destined to repeat the same failures, hire the same wrong people, and miss the same market shift over and over again. Let us discuss this further. Think about your last three major business failures: the missed quarterly target, the product launch that fizzled out, and the star hire who ended up being a toxic culture fit. Now, look closer. Do they share a pattern? Most CEO believes they are facing new challenges every day. But if you strip away the tech stack and the industry jargon, you often find that the leaders are simply reliving the same mistake in different costumes. In the business world, we call this stagnation. In the ancient wisdom, it is called the infinite loop. Today, we are exploring the profound warning from Bhagavad Gita, specifically mentioned in chapter 9, verse 3, and how it explains why some leaders evolve while others are destined to stay trapped in a cycle of birth and death within their own careers. So, friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further and let's look at the verse itself. And the quote starts: "Those who lack faith in this dharma, O scorcher of foes, do not attain me. They return to the path of cycle and death of the world." To the CEO, this might sound purely religious, but let's look at the mechanics. The two key terms here are dharma and sansara, which is the cycle. In the leadership context, dharma isn't just religion, it is the essential nature of the fundamental laws of how things work. In business, your dharma is a path of truth, adaptation, and the value creation. Sansar is the infinite loop. It is a cycle of being born, struggling, dying, and being reborn to do it all over again because you didn't learn the lesson the first time. What does it looks like when a CEO is stuck in the cycle of death and rebirth? It looks like the company that pivots every 6 months but never changes its internal culture, and it's a leader who fires the sales team because the revenue is down, only to hire a new team and manage them with the same flawed processes. I'm sure we have all seen this. When Bhagwan Krishna says these souls return again and again, he is describing the cycle of failure. You die in one market, you are reborn in a new venture. But because you haven't changed your fundamental approach, your dharma, you carry the same karmic baggage into the new company. You aren't growing, you're just repeating. You're stuck in the cycle of birth and death, which is mrityu sansar, and the path of recurring professional death. The verse says that the cause of this loop is the lack of faith. In modern business, the faith is often dismissed as weakness. We want data, we want KPIs, but Krishna is talking about Shraddha, a deep-seated conviction in the path of growth. For a CEO, faith in dharma means faith in truth. Having the courage to look at the ugly data and not hiding behind the vanity metrics. Faith in learning. Believing that your current knowledge is insufficient of your future goals. Faith in people. Moving away from micromanagement and trusting the collective dharma of your team. Without this faith, leaders become cynical. They stop innovating. They start playing not to lose instead of playing to win. And the moment you stop having faith in the process of evolution, you enter the loop. You become unattainable to the ultimate goal, which in business is the legacy. So, friends, how do you break this cycle? How do you stop being born again into the same business problem? There are a few steps. Step number one, identify your recurring ghosts. What problem has followed you from your last company to this one? And that is your lack of dharma. Step number two, commit to the attainable. Krishna says he is unattainable to those without faith. In business, greatness is unattainable to those who won't commit to the hard work of transformation. Breaking the loop requires a death of your ego so that a better leader can be born. Step number three, radical adaptability. Stop trying to force the market to fit your old mental models. That is the definition of the loop. Instead, align your leadership with the current reality. Bhagavad Gita tells us that the cycle of life and death is optional for those who attain the highest truth. In your career, the cycle of failure is also optional. Do not, you don't have to keep repeating the same year 20 times and calling it a career. By embracing the dharma of continuous learning, by having faith in the principles of integrity and evolution, you break the infinite loop. You stop returning to the path of death and start building a business that, like the wisdom of Gita, is timeless. Don't just lead for the next quarter, lead to break the cycle. So friends, hopefully you have enjoyed this conversation. If you have any question, please do not hesitate to send it across. Before I leave you with this lesson, I will like to talk a little bit about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends and namaskar. Let me ask you, are you leading your company through a chaos or are you creating a legacy that transcends market volatility? In this video, we decode the profound wisdom found in Bhagavad Gita and try to answer this question. For a CEO, this isn't just a philosophical statement. It's a master class in resilient leadership. And therefore, in this video, we will discover why the greatest business leaders operate from a place of eternal perspective and shedding the fear of failure and illusion for gaining total control. Let's go and discuss this further. Every day as a CEO, you wake up to the same pressure, and that is the numbers. The quarterly target, the market volatility, the competition, the fear of losing market share, losing your edge, or even losing your company. We treat business like a battleground where one wrong move results in total destruction. But what if I told you that the fear of business and all other fears are rooted in a fundamental misunderstanding of the reality. Today we are stepping beyond the balance sheet and we are looking at 5,000-year-old secret from Bhagavad Gita that changes everything about how you lead, how you decide, and how you survive. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. The verse is chapter 2, verse 19, and Bhagwan Krishna tells Arjun, and the quote starts, "In ignorance, one may think that a soul can slay another soul, or the soul gets slayed by another soul. But in truth, the learned know that the soul neither kills nor is killed." And the quote close. Now let's bring it into the boardroom, modern boardroom. In business, we are constantly slaying the competitors and fearing being slayed by them at the same time. We think if a product fails, the business dies. If a competitor launches a better service, we are slayed, we are finished. But the Gita is inviting us to a different level of intelligence. It is teaching us about the imperishable. When you identify only the external, the revenue, the valuation, the physical assets, you are living in a state of constant fragile death. But when you lead from the core, the purpose, the value, the innovation, and the vision, you tap into something that cannot be destroyed by the market shifts. The learned CEOs doesn't mean someone with the most degrees. It means someone with vivek, the ability to discriminate between temporary and the eternal. When you are attached to the outcome, you are anxious. You lose the ability to see clearly. You make desperate short-term decisions that hurt your long-term legacy. True leadership is performing your duty, your dharma, with total intensity, but without paralyzing fear of the results. So when you stop fearing the death of your plans, you stop being prisoner to the market data. You become a pioneer, not a defender. So how do we apply this, in our daily life? And therefore, I would like to provide three perspectives from my side. There are three ways to practice the eternal perspective, and that you can practice from tomorrow morning or even today. Choice is yours. First is analyze the imperishable. Ask yourself, if my entire current product line vanish tomorrow, what will remain then? What will happen? Is it your team's culture? Is it your unique problem solving process? That is your soul basically. Whatever remains, if everything perishes, is your soul. So identify that and build on that. Number two, detached intensity. Execute your strategy as if everything depends on it, but accept the outcome as if you are a gardener. You plant the seed, but you don't dictate the weather, right? Number three is a perspective shift. So next time a crisis hit, stop and ask, is this the end of the soul of this company, or is it just a change in the market? Don't let the temporary slaying of a project break your focus on a long-term vision. Business is not just about the transaction, it's about the transformation. When you stop leading out of fear, you start leading out of power. You're not the victim of the market, you are the architect of a vision that transcends the ups and downs of any single fiscal year. Move beyond the balance sheet, lead with the wisdom that understands what truly lasts. So friends, if you found this perspective shift valuable, I want to hear from you in the comments below. Tell me, what is one fear you have been carrying that you are ready to let go of, and we will learn it together. We will discuss in the future episode. So friends, if you have any questions, as I mentioned, please leave them in the comments, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Have a nice day.
In the vast heritage of Indian science, where sages mapped the stars and healers preserved life, Shalihotra stands as world's first veterinary doctor. His Shalihotra Samhita, composed over 2 millennia ago, transformed the care of horses from battlefield necessity into a discipline of compassion and precision. In 2026, his vision feels strikingly modern, reminding us that the true science serve not only the progress but empathy for all living beings. So let us find out more about Shalihotra, the veterinary doctor. In the annals of ancient Indian science, where the sages mapped the stars and physician healed the body, one figure stands out for turning his gaze towards the animal kingdom. Shalihotra, often hailed as the father of veterinary science, lived around 3rd century BC and composed Shalihotra Samhita, a monumental text devoted to the care and treatment and the anatomy of horses. At times when horses were the lifeblood of armies, agriculture, and trade, his work was not merely technical, it was civilizational. As Shalihotra Samhita contained over 12,000 verses detailing diseases, surgical procedures, and preventive care for horses. It described dental structure, hoof condition, and even the psychology of these animals. Shalihotra's approach was holistic. He saw the horses not as a machine of war, but as a living being whose health was intertwined with human destiny. His text became a cornerstone for veterinary knowledge across Asia, influencing later traditions in Persia, Arabia, and beyond. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will determine the reach of our channel. So taking this subject forward, in 2026, Shalihotra's legacy feels strikingly relevant. In an age where veterinary science has expanded to genetics, biotechnology, animal welfare, and his emphasis on compassion and systematic observation resonate deeply. Modern veterinary doctors now grapple with zoonotic diseases, climate-driven epidemics, and ethical debates around factory farming. Shalihotra's insistence on preventive care and respect for animal offers a timeless reminder. Science must serve both utility and empathy. The echoes of his work can be seen in today's One Health movement, which recognizes the interconnectedness of human, animal, and environmental health. Just as Shalihotra understood that the well-being of horses shape the well-being of society, modern scientists acknowledge that pandemic, food security, and ecological balance depends on how we treat animals, how we behave with the animals. His vision, born in ancient India, aligned seamlessly with the global challenges of 2026. Moreover, Shalihotra's contribution highlights that India's role in pioneering scientific thought long before the modern institution. In the classroom and galleries today, his name stands along the side of Sushruta, who is the father of surgery, and Charak, and of course the Aryabhat, as a proof that science in India was never confined to human medicines or mathematics. It embraced the full spectrum of life. His work reminds us that the innovation is not only about discovering new technologies, but also about nurturing the bond between species. Shalihotra's story is not just about horses. It is about humanity's evolving relationship with living world. His verses whisper across the centuries, that knowledge without compassion is incomplete. And the caring of animal is caring of ourselves. So, as the veterinary science in 2026 explores that gene editing, AI-driven diagnostics, and sustainable livestock practices, Shalihotra's spirit lingers, urging the balance between the progress and the ethics. Shalihotra's legacy definitely whisper across the century, and the health of animal is inseparable from the destiny of humankind. As veterinary science embrace AIs and genetic therapies and One Health initiative in 2026, his timeless wisdom endures, urging balance between innovation and compassion. So now we have come to the end of this subject, this live streaming. Please like and subscribe our channel. We look forward your comments on this topic. We'll meet again. But before we end, a few words about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. हेलो दोस्तों, नमस्कारम। आप सभी का स्वागत है। आज हमारे सामने एक बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है जिसका आंसर हमें ढूंढना बहुत ही ज़रूरी है। ये क्वेश्चन है, क्या आज के आधुनिक बिजनेस वर्ल्ड में धर्म और रणनीति का कोई स्थान है या कोई स्थान रह गया है? इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट है और हमें इसका डिस्कशन करना है। चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। एक सीईओ के रूप में अनिश्चितता और कठिन निर्णयों के बीच आप अपना कर्तव्य कैसे निभा सकते हैं? इस वीडियो में हम भगवत गीता की सहायता लेंगे और हम जानेंगे कि भगवान कृष्ण ने हमें क्या सीख दी है और इस इम्पोर्टेंट सवाल का आंसर खोजने में हम भगवत गीता की सहायता लेंगे। चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। एक सीईओ की कुर्सी जो होती है काफ़ी चमकदार होती है, बहुत ही अट्रैक्टिव होती है, लेकिन इसके पीछे बहुत ज़्यादा अनसर्टेनिटी होती है, तनाव, हर दिन के जीवन के कठोर निर्णय। वो ये केवल वही जानता है जो उस कुर्सी पे बैठता है। जब जाने कि कोई लीडर है जो बहुत ही हाई हॉट सीट पे बैठा हुआ है। क्या आपने कभी इसको महसूस किया है कि आपकी सारी स्ट्रेटजी फेल हो रही है? मार्केट गिरता ही जा रहा है, आप समझ नहीं पा रहे क्या करना है, टीम बिखरने लगी है और सब कुछ गलत हो रहा है और इसके बीच में एक लकीर खींची हुई है। आप उस लकीर पे क्या करना है वो आप तय करते हैं एज ए सीईओ। आज हम किसी मैनेजमेंट बुक की बात नहीं करेंगे। आज हम बात करेंगे दुनिया के सबसे पुराने, सबसे प्रभावशाली लीडरशिप गाइड भगवत गीता और खास तौर पे अध्याय 2 चैप्टर 2 श्लोक 31 में, जिसमें किसी भी सीईओ के लिए किसी वेपन की जो सीख दी गई है किसी वेपन से कम नहीं है। एक स्ट्रेटेजिक मास्टर क्लास की तरह ये हमारे सामने है। और इसका सीधा अर्थ है, अगर हम इस कोट को पढ़ें, इस वर्स को पढ़ें, और कोट स्टार्ट्स, अपने क्षत्रिय धर्म, अपने यानी कि अपने कर्तव्य को देखते हुए भी तुम्हें विचलित नहीं होना चाहिए, क्योंकि धर्म के लिए ही, न्याय के लिए ही युद्ध करने से बेहतर एक योद्धा के लिए और कुछ भी नहीं है। एंड द कोट क्लोज। तो दोस्तों, अगर आप यहाँ तक पहुंचे हैं तो हमें कमेंट करके ज़रूर बताएं कि आप कौन सी सिटी से, कौन सी कंट्री से हमारे साथ जुड़ रहे हैं और किस लैंग्वेज में हमारा वीडियो देख रहे हैं। तो चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। अब एक सीईओ के तौर पे आप सोचेंगे, मैं युद्ध कैसे कर सकता हूँ, मैं तो बिजनेस कर रहा हूँ। लेकिन जरा रुकिए, आज का बाजार किसी कुरुक्षेत्र से कम नहीं है और यहाँ पे कट थ्रोट कंपटीशन होता है। नैतिकता बनाम मुनाफा और टीम के बजाय टीम को बचाए रखने के लिए जद्दोजहद, क्योंकि टीम आपका कॉम्पिटिटर ले जाएगा। तो यही तो वो युद्ध है जो हमें हर दिन लड़ना होता है। सो इस श्लोक में बोला गया है कि क्षत्रिय अर्थ केवल वो नहीं जो तलवार उठाता है, इसका अर्थ वो है जो व्यक्ति जिम्मेदारी लेने से नहीं डरता। जब गीता में भगवान कृष्ण ने अर्जुन से कहा कि तुम विचलित मत हो, तो वो एक सीईओ को सिखा रहे हैं, एक सीईओ की तरह उनको सिखा रहे हैं और बोल रहे हैं कि आपको विचलित नहीं होना है, कितनी भी बड़ी मार्केट रियलिटी आपके सामने हो। और इन डिसीजन का अंत होना चाहिए। जब कोई बड़ा फैसला लेना हो तो आप स्वधर्म, अपनी जैसे कि अपनी कंपनी के विजन और मूल्यों को देखें, और अगर फैसला सही है तो परिणाम से मत डरें, डर का त्याग करें, अर्थात कांपना छोड़ें। एक सीईओ को का डर पूरी टीम में फैल जाता है। अगर आप डरे हुए हैं तो आपकी रणनीति भी डरी हुई होगी, क्योंकि न्याय के लिए खड़ा होना है, अक्सर मार्केट में टिके रहने के लिए और अनिकता, जिसको अनएथिकल बोलते हैं, रास्ते कई दफ़ा अपना लेते हैं कई लोग, क्योंकि खड़ा रहना है और अनएथिकल जो रास्ता होता है वो थोड़ा सा आसान दिखता है। श्लोक कहते हैं कि अधर्म के खिलाफ लड़ना आपका धर्म है। यही आपकी स्ट्रैटेजी होनी चाहिए कि आपके मुनाफे से पहले आपकी वैल्यूज़ को आपको सामने रखना होगा। और अब इसको हम लीडरशिप में लगाएं तो इसको हम कैसे इम्प्लीमेंट करें, तो यहाँ पे मैं आपको 3 स्टेप बताऊंगा जिससे आप इसको धीरे धीरे अपने जीवन में डाल सकते हैं और अपने डिसीजंस बेटर ले सकते हैं। तो पहला है द पर्पस। पर्पस की परिभाषा करें। जब भी कोई मुश्किल आए, खुद से पूछें, क्या यह फैसला मेरी कंपनी के लिए वैल्यू के अनुरूप है? अगर हाँ, तो पीछे ना हटें, आगे बढ़ें। नंबर 2, कन्विक्शन के साथ लीड करें, क्योंकि आपने पहला पॉइंट आपने देख लिया है। श्लोक कहता है कि न्याय का युद्ध है ये। अगर आपकी रणनीति सही है तो आप पूरी ताकत से आगे बढ़ें। अधूरे अधूरे मन से लिए गए फैसले हमेशा घाटा देते हैं। नंबर 3, स्टेक होल्डर की सुरक्षा करें। एक योद्धा अपने राज की रक्षा करता है, अपने कर्मचारियों को, इन्वेस्टर जिसको हम निवेशक भी बोलते हैं, ग्राहकों की रक्षा करता है। और जब आप डिफेंसिव नहीं बल्कि वैल्यू ड्रिवन लीडर बनते हैं तो आप अजय हो जाते हैं। तो दोस्तों, ये 3 मंत्र हैं जो आप अपनी लाइफ में उसको फॉलो कर सकते हैं, जो हमें भगवत गीता से इस पर्टिकुलर 2 लाइनों के श्लोक में मिलते हैं। दोबारा से बोलता हूँ, चैप्टर 2 श्लोक 31, और आपको यह याद दिलाता है कि आप एक सीईओ ही नहीं, आप एक लीडर हैं जिसे न्याय और प्रगति के लिए खड़ा होना है। आज अपने बोर्ड रूम में जाने से पहले बस ये याद रखें कि जो कंडीशंस हैं वो कितनी भी कठिन हो, अगर आपका धर्म, आपका कर्तव्य और नैतिकता आप के रास्ते पे आप चल रहे हैं तो हारने का कोई सवाल ही नहीं पैदा होता। अगर आप लीडर हैं और आपको लगता है कि ये संदेश आपके किसी सहकर्मी या दोस्त के काम आ सकता है, तो उनके साथ शेयर करें और हमें कमेंट करके बताएं कि आपके लिए कॉर्पोरेट धर्म का सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज क्या है। हम उस पर चर्चा करेंगे आने वाले वीडियो में। सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें। मिलते हैं जल्दी अगले वीडियो में। तब तक के लिए आपका हम प्रार्थना करेंगे आपका दिन शुभ रहे और आप सक्सेस पाएं। थैंक यू। नमस्कार। Hello friends, welcome. In this video, we decode one of the most profound verses of the Bhagavad Gita to reveal a blueprint for a modern leadership and business's longevity. While the most CEO fear the end of a market cycle or the disruption of their industry, the Gita teaches that dissolution is simply the precursor to a more powerful manifestation. Let us go and discuss this further. Every CEO, every founder, every leader share a common nightmare. That is the end. The end of a product relevance, the end of a market cycle, the end of an era. We spend billions on R&D and strategy just to stave away and stave off the inevitable moment when what we have built is no longer enough. We treat disruption like an enemy and therefore it has to be defeated. But what if the end wasn't a failure? What if it was a biological, even cosmic necessity? Today we are bridging the gap between the modern boardroom and the ancient Vedic philosophy. We are looking at chapter 9, verse 7 of the Bhagavad Gita, where Shri Krishna, Bhagwan Krishna, reveals a concept that can transform your lead, you can scale, and most importantly, how you can pivot. Welcome to the Eternal Pivot Leadership Lessons from the Cycle of Kalpa. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's look at the verse. The text says, and in this context, Bhagwan Krishna says to Arjun, quote starts, every material being enter into me at the end of the every cycle of Kalpa or a millennium. O Kaunteya, I send them back again at the beginning of the next cycle, quote close. To understand this, for business, we need to understand two terms, Kalpa and dissolution. A Kalpa is a massive cycle of time, a cosmic fiscal year or a grand scale. At the end of this cycle, everything, the stars, the planet, the souls, merges back into the source. Nothing is destroyed in the scene, in a sense of vanishing into nothingness. It is simply pulled back into a state of potential. You know potential energy? Right. Then Bhagwan Krishna says, I send them back again. This is a first grade leadership lesson. Existence is cyclic, not linear. In business, we often try to force linear growth forever. But the Gita reminds us that everything that manifests must eventually be pulled back into the source, which is the core idea, the raw talent, the capital, etc., before it can be projected outward again in a better, more evolved form. Why do legacy companies fail? Because they try to fight the end of their kalpa. Think of Kodak, Nokia, or Blockbuster. They viewed their current form, their specific product as permanent. When the cycle ended, they resisted the pullback to the source. They refused to dissolve their old identity, and as a result, they couldn't be sent back as something new. As a leader, your job is to identify when a cycle is closing. Is your current business model is being that has reached the end of the kalpa, or holding on to strategic simply because it worked in the last millennium? Very profound question, isn't it? I think all of you can try and answer in your business. Bhagwan Krishna wisdom here is about strategic detachment. He doesn't mourn the end of kalpa. He facilitates it because he knows the next cycle is already planned. A Gita aligned CEO doesn't see a market crash as a catastrophe. They see it as the universe clearing the whiteboard for a new, more efficient design. So how do you apply this? We call it the eternal pivot. The eternal pivot is the ability to withdraw your energy, resources, and talent from a dying cycle and bring them back to the source, which in your case is your core purpose. When you pivot, you aren't changing who you are changing how you manifest. There are several things that you need to take care. First, identify the end of the cycle signal. High customer acquisition cost, stagnation in innovation, or a shift in the cultural values. These aren't just problems, they are the kalpa signals. Number two, embrace the dissolution. Don't just fix a broken department. Sometimes you have to dissolve it completely. Let the talent and the capital return to the center. Number three, remanifestation. Ask yourself, if you were starting from scratch today with the wisdom of the past, what would I send back into the world? This is exactly what Krishna does. He doesn't just repeat the previous cycle. He sent beings back again, fresh, renewed, and ready for the new era. Leading from the verse 7 means leading with a cosmic perspective. It removes the ego from the pivot. If you believe you are your current product, a pivot feels like a personal death. But if you see yourself as the facilitator of the cycle, like Bhagwan Krishna of your organization, then the pivot becomes your greatest act of creation. You become a leader who's unshakable. When the industry is in chaos, you are calm because you understand the mechanics of the kalpa. You know that for something to be born, something must first return to the source. You aren't just managing people, you are managing the rhythm of evolution. Next time when you face a major transition, a failed venture, or a shifting market, don't look at it as an ending of the your career, etc. Look at it through the lens of chapter 9 and verse 7. The cycle is closing so that the new one can begin. Your material being, your current project, is just returning to you so that you can send it back out, stronger, wiser, and more aligned with the future. Master this cycle, embrace the dissolution, and always be ready for the next kalpa. So friends, thanks for watching and thanks for listening. Now you go forth and lead the next cycle. If you have any questions, please feel free to send it across. Before I leave you today, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
For years, Anthropic Claude was known for as a conversational powerhouse on AI that could reason, that could assist, and also solve the complex tasks. But today, in 2026, the company has decided to redraw the boundaries of creativity. With the debut of Claude Design, Anthropic actually has stepped boldly into the visual arena, and where it offers the tool that transform and to the plain language into a polished and presentation prototype and marketing visual. This is not just another AI feature, but it is reimagination of how the idea takes shape. No templates, no plain canvases, just words flowing into images. For entrepreneurs, for educators and the creators, Claude Design promises speed and accessibility. And for a design industry, it raises the questions about the originality and artistry, and the role of human imagination in the era of machine learning, machine marketing, visual. So let's find out more about this.
In a groundbreaking discovery, astronomers have captured a rare cosmic handshake. Two blazing quasars in the process of merging. Located billions of light years away, these luminous monsters are powered by supermassive black holes that are spiraling towards each other, destined to become a single, even more powerful and massive entity. What is going on here? Let us explore this further. Imagine looking at a single point of light in the night sky. A light so bright it outshines the entire galaxy of hundreds of billions of stars. Now imagine looking closer and realizing that the single point isn't one object, it's two. And they are rushing towards each other at millions of miles per hour. Astronomers have just confirmed one of the rarest sights in our universe, a pair of blazing quasars caught in the middle of chaotic, violent merger. This isn't just a pretty light show. It is a snapshot of the early universe, a time when the galaxies were still young and messy. Today we are going to peel back the layers of this discovery. We will talk about what is quasar actually is, how we found these two needle and haystack twins, and why this discovery might be a crystal ball looking into the future of our own Milky Way. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Before we can understand the collision, we have to understand the titans involved here. The word quasar, which is in short for quasi-stellar radio source, to the early telescope of the 1960s, they looked like stars, but they behaved like monsters. At the heart of every quasar is a supermassive black hole, but the black hole itself isn't the light you see. Black hole by definition don't let light escape. Instead, the glow came from the accretion disk, and as the black hole's gravity pull in massive amount of gas, dust and even entire stars, that material spins around the center like water goes down the drain. The friction and the gravity heat this material to millions of degrees, causing it to glow with more energy than thousands of galaxies combined. They are the ultimate cosmic lighthouses, visible from very edge of the observable universe. When we see a quasar, we are seeing a black hole that is feeding. Finding a single quasar is hard. Finding two that are merging is nearly impossible. Why? Because they are so far away that they are usually appear as single blurry dot. But recently, a team of astronomers using the Gaia Space Observatory noticed something strange. Gaia is designed to track the positions of stars with incredible precision. While looking at the known quasars, they noticed a jiggle. The light wasn't moving in space, but its intensity was flickering back and forth between 2 points, like a railroad crossing signal seen from a distance. To confirm their suspicions, they called in the big guns, the Hubble Space Telescope and the Gemini North Telescope in Hawaii. Hubble's sharp eyes revealed that this wasn't just a trick of light or gravitational lensing, where a closer galaxy acts as a magnifying glass. No, these were two distinct massive galaxies, each with its own feeding black holes at the center, physically bound by gravity. They are currently separated by only about 10,000 light years, which in cosmic terms is like two people standing on opposite sides of the living room. This specific pair of quasars is special because of when we are seeing them, because the light takes time to travel. Looking deep into space is like looking back in time. We are seeing these quasars as they were just 900 million years after the Big Bang. This puts them squarely in the epoch of reionization. This was the cosmic dawn, the era when the very first stars and galaxies were turning on and clearly, moving away from the cold, dark hydrogen fog that filled the early universe. Seeing two quasars merging this early tells us that supermassive black holes didn't just grow slowly over billions of years, they grew through violence. They grew by eating each other. This discovery helps scientists refine their simulations of how the universe evolved from a hot soup of particles into a structured web of galaxies that we see today. You might be wondering, that's 12 billion years ago. Why does it matter to us now? Well, the Great Cosmic Collision is a preview of our own destiny. Right now, our galaxy, the Milky Way, is on a collision course with our neighbor, the Andromeda Galaxy. In about 4 to 5 billion years, our two galaxies will begin the same dance these quasars are doing right now. Our own central black hole Sagittarius A star, which is currently quiet and not feeding, might wake up during the merger. And as from gas from the Andromeda gets shoved into our galactical center, our black hole could ignite, turning a Milky Way into a blazing quasar for an distant alien astronomers to see. The two quasars we're talking about today have likely already finished their merger. In the now of the universe, they are probably one single gargantuan elliptical galaxy with one massive black hole at its core. We are just not catching the echoes of their ancient battle. It reminds us that the universe is not static place. It's a dynamic, evolving, and often violent masterpiece. Every time we find a pair like this, we add another piece to the puzzle of where we came from, where the cosmos is going, etc. So friends, thanks for joining in on this journey across space and time. If you want to keep exploring the wonders of the universe, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Until next time, please keep looking up. Before I part ways, a word from our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
are tracing the teak-ribbed hulls of ancient India's dhows as they harness the seasonal monsoon wind to dominate the Indian Oceans. By examining the stitch, joinery, and celestial navigation, we reconstruct how these master shipbuilder outpaced the Roman fleet and establishing the primary maritime arteries that connected the distant civilization long before the colonial age. What if I told you that the ancient Indian maritime technology was centuries ahead of Roman Empire? By perfecting the art of teak-ribbed hulls, these master builders established the primary maritime arteries that still shape global trade today. To discover how their revolutionary navigation techniques connected distant civilization while the other was still hugging the shoreline. So let's find out more. So, hello friends, in 2025, off the coast of Kerala, divers stumbled upon a revelation that shook the foundation of maritime history. The remains of ancient Indian hulls, astonishingly larger and more durable than their Roman counterparts. These timber preserved by salt and slit whispered of a forgotten fleet that once ruled the ocean. The mystery deepened when the archaeologists realized these ships had crossed 3,000 miles of open water without a single metal nails, crafted instead with ingenious wooden joinery and coconut fiber lashing that flexed with the wave rather than breaking against them. While the Mediterranean vessels clung nervously off the coastline, then inching from port to port, Indian dhows sprinted boldly across the deep ocean. So these captains trusted the monsoon winds long before the Greek or Roman navigator recorded them. So the so-called Hippolytus wind pattern, named centuries later by outsiders, were already mastered by Indian sailors who timed their voyage with precision, turning the Indian Ocean into a predictable two-way highway. So the secret lay in the physics of the sails, and a triangular marvel that allowed ships to tack against the wind. With these innovations, Indian vessels could slice diagonally across the currents, harnessing the monsoon's rhythm to sail out in one season and return to another. This mastery of seasonal wind was not just technical brilliance. It was a heartbeat of global spice trade. Pepper, cinnamon, and cardamom flowed along these routes, dictating the wealth of empire from Rome to China. Navigation was no less revolutionary. The kamal, a simple wooden tool with a string and a bead, allowed sailors to measure the altitude of pole stars, giving them a precise latitude centuries before the sextant was imagined. The ancient Vedic astronomical texts, once used for ritual timing, were repurposed into a practical maritime charts. So these guides identified safe deep water corridors, enabling Indian captains to bypass the treacherous coastline and storms. In doing so, they laid the foundation for world's first global trade hubs. From Muzeris in Kerala to Lothal in Gujarat, Indian ports became crossroads of civilizations. Roman gold flowed eastwards, Chinese silk westward, and Indian spices northwards, weaving together the Roman Empire and the Han dynasty through the maritime arteries. So these routes were not accidental. They were engineered by generations of Indian sea surfers who understood the ocean as intimidating as farmers understood as soil, you know. So the DNA of these shipbuilding genius survives even today. The modern vessels still echo the principle of flexibility, wind harnessing, and seasonal timing pioneering in Indian Ocean. And as the maritime archaeology in 2026 continues to unearth the hulls, the anchors, and the charts, the narratives of globalization is being rewritten. The so-called Age of Discovery, long credited to European explorer, was in truth born 1,000 years earlier in Indian Ocean, when Indian ships dared to cross the horizon that others feared. The forgotten fleet is no longer forgotten. It stands revealed as the silent architect of a global trade, proving that India did not merely participate in history, it steered it with sails that caught the monsoon and the mind that mapped the stars. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you are tuned in, and this will help us to determine the reach of our channel. Now let's continue with our discussion. The story of how ancient Indian maritime routes created the first global economy is one of the vision, courage, and astonishing technological mastery. So long before modern trade networks and the digital globalization, India's shipbuilders and navigators had already woven the worlds together through the rhythm of the monsoon wind and the pulse of ocean currents. From the harbor to Lothal and Dolaria in the Indus Valley to a bustling port of Kaviripattam and Muziris, the Indian sailor charted the course that connected the Africa, the Arabia, and Southeast Asia and beyond. Their ship crafted with the teak, coconut fiber ropes, and ingenious waterproofing resin were not merely vessel but floating labs of ancient engineering. So these routes carried more than spice and silk. They carried ideas, mathematics, astronomy, and philosophy across the continents. The Indian Ocean became a living map of exchange. Gold from Africa, frankincense from Arabia, silk from China met the cotton, pepper, and gemstone from India. The result was not just commerce, it was a birth of global consciousness. It was again a networking of civilization learning from one to another. The ancient Indian navigator understood the monsoon rhythm so precisely that they could time voyage to harness its power, transforming seasonal wind into an artery of global trade. This maritime brilliance was underpinned by sacred geometry and astronomical precision. Shipbuilders aligned hull design with the cosmic ratio, believing that the harmony between the vessel and the universe ensures safe passage. So their technology was both spiritual and scientific. A fusion that made Indian ships legendary for their durability and speed. By the time the Roman coin began appearing in South Indian port, the world has already entered its first era of global economy, an economy born not in the imperial conquest, but in sharp navigation and mutual exchange. India's maritime routes were the invisible thread that stitched together continents, culture, and destination. So we have reached to the end of this interesting topic. Please like and subscribe our channel, and we look forward for your comment on this topic. See you in the next one very soon. Till then, take care.
नमस्कार दोस्तों, आप सबका स्वागत है। हम अब क्योंकि सोमवार है तो महामृत्युंजय का जाप करेंगे। आंखें बंद कर लीजिए, हाथ जोड़ लीजिए और शंकर भगवान का नमन करिए। ओम त्र्यंबकम वजामहे सुगंधिम पुष्टि वर्धनम उर्वाकरुक्मिव बंधनान् मृत्यो मोक्षीय महामृतात् सज्ञो जातम प्रपाघमि भगवंत मृत्युम जय शिवम अभयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकम वजामहे सुगंधिम पुष्टि वर्धनम उर्वाकरुक्मिव बंधनान् मृत्यो मोक्षीय महामृतात् सज्ञो जातम प्रपाघमि भगवंत मृत्युम जय शिवम अभयामि। ओम त्र्यंबकम यजामहे सुगंधिम पुष्टि वर्धनम उर्वाकरुक्मिव बंधनान् मृत्यो मोक्षीय महामृतात् सज्ञो जातम प्रपाघमि भगवंत मृत्युम जय शिवम अभयामि। ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय। दोस्तों, आप सबका दिन मंगलमय हो, इसी कामना के साथ इस वीडियो को यहीं समाप्त करते हैं। जल्दी मिलता हूं दूसरे वीडियो में।
Hello friends, in today's hyper-distracted corporate world, business leaders are facing unprecedented burnout, decision fatigue, and market volatility. What if the ultimate solution to the modern corporate chaos was written over 7,000 years ago? Therefore, in this video, we break down Bhagavad Gita's lessons and reveal how it serves as a powerful framework for the 21st century's executives, founders, and CEOs. Let's go. Look at the modern corporate landscape and you will notice a strange paradox. We have more data, faster communication, and better AI tools than at any point in time in the human history. Yet, today's CEOs and business leaders are more overwhelmed, exhausted, and distracted than ever before. We call it decision fatigue. And we also call it market volatility, and we also call it the constant pressure to innovate. But what if the real problem isn't the lack of resources, but the lack of anchoring? What if the ultimate antidote to the corporate chaos was written over 7,000 years ago on a battlefield? So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Today we are diving deep into the ancient text that holds a revolutionary blueprint for the modern executive leadership. We are looking at Bhagavad Gita's chapter 9 and verse 13. In this verse, Bhagwan Krishna drops a truth bomb that completely flips our modern definition of the power, control, and leadership on its head. Let's read the verse, and the quote starts, "But those who are Mahatmas surrender to divine energy and accept me as the singular source of all existence. They remain absorbed in me with mind and intelligence Quote close. For the modern CEO, the words like surrender, divine energy, and absorption might sound out of place in a quarterly board meeting. But over the next few minutes, we are going to decode why this exact verse is a missing link to the hyper focused, sustainable business growth and indestructible mental peace. Let's start with the first key word in this verse, which is Mahatma. In Sanskrit, Maha means great and Atma means soul, a great soul. That is Mahatma. In the corporate world, we have plenty of managers, plenty of directors, and plenty of traditional CEOs. A traditional CEO operates largely from the ego. They believe they are the sole engine driving the company. They carry the weight of the entire organization on their shoulders. It's a mindset that says if I don't micromanage, then and if I don't control every variable, everything will collapse. So, what happens to an ego driven leader? Burnout, anxiety, strategic blindness. Bhagwan Krishna says that the true leaders, the Mahatma, operate differently. A Mahatma CEO understand that they are, not the ultimate controller; they are the conduit. They switch their operating system from ego-driven management to purpose-driven stewardship. When you view your company not as a personal empire to conquer, but as a vehicle to serve a larger, higher purpose, your relationship with the stress changes completely. You stop reacting to daily market fluctuations with panic and you start leading with deep, unshakable, long term vision. Now, let's look at the most misunderstood word in the business, which is surrender. The verse states surrender to divine energy. Right? To the modern executive, surrender sounds like weakness. It sounds like giving up, quitting, or waving the white flag. But in context of Bhagavad Gita, surrender is the ultimate act of strategic power. Think about the concept of flow state in psychology. What athletes call being in the zone. When the elite athlete is in the zone, they aren't overthinking every muscular movement. They are surrendered their rigid, anxious, conscious mind to a deeper, intuitive intelligence. For a CEO, surrendering to a divine energy or a higher cosmic order means acknowledging a fundamental truth. You cannot control the outcome. You can only control the input. When you surrender to the obsessive anxiety over the result, the stock price, the competitor's next move, the macroeconomic shifts, etc., you suddenly free up massive amount of cognitive bandwidth. You stop wasting energy, fighting variable that you cannot change. And your channel 100% of your power into what you can do right now, right? And that is what Bhagwan Krishna means by surrendering to divine energy. It is aligning yourself with the natural flow of reality rather than fighting against it. The verse goes on to say that these great minds accept me as singular source of all existence. They remain absorbed in me with mind and intelligence. Right? This is a masterclass in focus. The biggest enemy of the modern CEO isn't the lack of opportunity. It is an absolute surplus of distraction. It's what the tech theorists call shiny object syndrome. Founders chase every new trend, pivot with every 3 months, scatter their company's energy in 50 different directions. When your mind is scattered, your execution is weaker. But look at the instructions here. Quote starts again, absorbed with mind and intelligence, quote close. When a leader identifies as a singular source, a core, unbinding higher mission for their enterprise and anchor their entire intellect to it, something magical happens. The noise evaporates. Every new partnership purpose filtered through singular source. Every new product line, evaluated by core mission. Every internal conflicts resolved by the aligning with the higher purpose. So this level of absorption is what separated leaders like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk from average executives. They had an almost spiritual, unwavering obsession with singular vision. They didn't care about standard industry norms. They were completely absorbed in bringing a specific future into reality. When you apply your analytical intelligence alongside a deeper focus mind, you achieve what Gita calls ekagrata, one pointed concentration, and one pointed corporate strategy is virtually unstoppable. So, how do you take chapter 9, verse 13 out of the realm of philosophy and put it directly into your boardroom tomorrow morning? And here are the 3 concrete steps for the modern executive. Step 1, define your singular source. What is the absolute unshakable core purpose of your company beyond just making money? And if your goal is profit, your leadership will always be very fragile. You will find that the higher impact that anchors your organization is very weak, on a very weak footing. Step 2, practice active surrender daily. Before you open your laptop or walk into a high stakes negotiations, take 2 minutes of silence. Mentally give up your attachments to the final results. Say to yourself, I will give this to my absolute highest intelligence and effort, but I will surrender the outcome to the universe. Watch how quickly your anxiety drops completely. Step 3, protect your absorption. Cut the noise, block out deep work time on your calendar where your mind and intelligence are entirely focused on higher leverage, long-term strategic thinking, completely insulated from emails, slacks, and daily fires. Leadership is lonely, it is heavy, and is exhausting if you try to do it all through the power of your own limited ego. But Bhagavad Gita chapter 9 verse 13 reminds us that you don't have to carry the world alone. By stepping into the shoes of Mahatma, by leaning into a higher divine energy and absorbing your mind and intellect into singular noble vision, you don't just build a successful company, you build a resilient, peaceful and legacy defined life. True power doesn't come from forcing the world to bend to your will. True power comes from aligning your leadership with the ultimate source of all existence. So, friends, what do you think about this? If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send it across. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining live. If this ancient perspective on modern business resonated with you, hit that like button. Share this video with your fellow entrepreneurs or executives who need to hear this today. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into timeless wisdom of modern leaders. Lead from the source, stay focused, and before I actually go to the Q&A, because there are some messages as well, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio, and also it has a civil base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. So friends, we had a very successful, very good session today, and there were few messages. I would like to display those messages. First is Nightmare J. Nightmare J, your message and your ID is displayed on the screen, and you said hi. So how can I help you? If you have any questions, please let me know, Nightmare J. Thank you for saying hi and very good morning from India. All right, so I will see you very soon in the next video, which is about business. And so please hold on and stay tuned. Bye for now. Hello friends and namaskaram. Could we actually hack Earth's magnetic field to protect our own modern technology? Very, very profound question. Therefore, in this video, we dive deep into the revolutionary and controversial new proposal from the scientist deploying spacecraft to spray chemicals directly into the Earth's magnetosphere. As our reliance on satellite and power grids and GPS grows, so does our vulnerability to external solar storms. Could a man-made solar shield be the key to preventing a global blackout? Let's discuss this further. Imagine you're living in a world where everything just stops. No GPS to guide your travel, no internet to connect your your PCs, no power grid to keep your lights on. It sounds like the plot of a disaster movie. But it's a very real threat looming 93 million miles away on the surface of the sun. We have spent decades getting better at predicting space weather, acting like people in village watching a river rise, hoping we can warn everyone before the flood hits. But what if we didn't just watch? What if we could actually build a wall to stop the water? Today we're looking at a bold new proposal from scientists, a storm wall designed to actively hack Earth's magnetic field. Can we really engineer our way out of a solar storm, a massive one? To understand why we need a solar shield, we have to understand our current defenses. The magnetosphere. It's a vast invisible bubble around our planet that deflects the sun's charged particles away from Earth. Usually it does a great job, but it is not impenetrable. The danger comes when the sun releases a massive eruption known as the coronal mass ejection or CME. When this cloud of magnetic energy hits Earth, it can trigger a process called magnetic reconnection. Think of it like a shortcut. When the solar magnetic field aligns just right with our own, it rips a hole in the shield. This allows solar energy to flood into our near-Earth space, causing geomagnetic storms. Why should you care about this? Because our modern world is fragile. We have seen these storms fry satellites, disrupt radio signals, and surge power grids with enough voltage to cause massive blackouts. In May 2024, a major storm hit, causing hundreds of millions of dollars in losses for the agriculture industry alone when the GPS guided tractors could not function. As our tech dependency grows, our vulnerability to these invaders from space only get worse. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's move forward. So how do we fix this issue? A team led by Brian Walsh from Boston University has proposed a concept called storm wall. If you can't make the shield stronger, why not give it an airbag? The idea is to launch a fleet of 6 spacecraft into specific orbits. These ships would carry payloads of alkaline chemicals like barium or lithium.
which they could spray into the magnetosphere. When these chemicals are released, the photoionized, they actually become photoionized, creating a cloud of artificial plasma. This plasma would essentially thicken the boundary between us and the solar wind. By adding this mass to the critical frontier of magnetosphere, the storm wall would disrupt the energy flow of incoming storms. It forces the space weather bounce back around and past our planet instead of punching through. Computer simulation suggests this could reduce the intensity of the geomagnetic storm by more than 50%. It's not about stopping the sun, it's about turning a catastrophic hit into a glancing blow. Now, before we go spraying chemicals into space, we have to talk about the but part of it. And there are several buts here. First, the cost. We are talking about launching 6 spacecrafts, each carrying material equivalent to roughly 12 oil trucks. It's a one and done solution. Once the chemicals are sprayed, the system essentially spends it. It's incredibly expensive, and then there is ethical and environmental questions about geoengineering. While the researchers argue that the risk of contamination is very low since the plasma gets swept away by the solar wind within about 6 hours, any attempt to hack the planetary system comes with a lot of uncertainty. We have to ask, what are the unintended consequences of messing with our magnetic field? Any project of this scale would require massive international cooperations, oversight, and transparency. Is the storm wall the future of space defenses? Maybe. As we pour money into orbital infrastructure and space-based data centers, the financial math, as the researchers put it, might start to make sense. The reality is that if we build this, it wouldn't just protect our one country or one group of satellites, it would serve as a collective shield for the entire planet. We are becoming a space-faring civilization, which means we have to start acting like one. Whether or not we use space airbags, we have to find better ways to live within the volatile star we orbit. So friends, what do you think? Should we be experimenting with our planet's magnetic field, or is it the risk too high? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching and stay curious. I will catch you again in the next one.
Before the robotic arms and the AI entered the operation theatre, a healer in ancient India was already reshaping the future of medicine. Sushruta, the legendary father of surgery, carved his legacy not with the medicines, but with wisdom, precision, and compassion. In Sushruta Samhita, he described rhinoplasty, cataract surgery, and anatomy with astonishing details. Centuries ahead of his time, and in today 2026, as medicine balance in innovation with ethics, his voice echoes across the millennia. Let's find out more about him. In the annals of medical history, few names shines as bright as Sushruta, the ancient Indian physician whose vision and practice earned him the title of Father of Surgery. So, living around the 6th century BCE in Kashi, the modern Varanasi, Sushruta was more than a healer. He was teacher, he was philosopher and innovator who believed medicine was a sacred duty rooted in compassion and discipline. His legacy, preserved in Sushruta Samhita, continues to resonate even in 2026 as the world seeks balance between cutting-edge technology and holistic care. Sushruta Samhita is monumental text. spanning 186 chapters covering surgery, anatomy, pharmacy, and pediatrics, toxicology, and prevention medicines. Within its page, Sushruta described surgical techniques that astonish modern readers also, like rhinoplasty using skin flaps, cataract surgeries by lens removal, and lithotomy for bladder stones and obesities, a procedure to save mothers, especially in critical conditions. He catalogs over 300 bones, 700 vessels, and a wide array of surgical instruments. So, demonstrating a mastery of anatomy that was centuries ahead of its time. His insistence on hygiene, diets, and lifestyle as pillar of health foreshadows even the modern preventive medicines. So, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So, going forward on this wonderful topic, Sushruta's contribution was not merely technical. He emphasized on ethics, compassion, and the morality of responsibilities of physicians. So, in an age where the artificial intelligence and robotics are entering in operating rooms, his reminder that the healing is both science and art, and that feels especially both the things combination and the field definitely you will also agree is very urgent even in 2026. Technology may enhance precision, but the human touch, empathy, respect, and ethical judgment remains irreplaceable. In 2026, Sushruta's relevance is striking. As reconstructive surgery advances, his pioneer in rhinoplasty techniques are recognized as a procedure to modern plastic surgery. As integrative medicines gains traction, his holistic approach, combining such surgery with Ayurveda, diets, and lifestyle, offers a model for sustainable healthcare. And as a global health system grapples with the pandemics, lifestyle diseases, and ethical dilemmas, his vision of medicines as moral duty provides timeless guidance. So, Sushruta's life reminds us that innovation is not only about inventions but about foresight. He anticipated the need for structured surgical training, insisting that students practice on watermelon or animal carcasses before operating on human. As a principle, echoes even today's medical simulations. He saw the physician not as a technician, but as a custodian of life, entrusted with both skill and conscience. So in 2026, Sushruta's voice echoes across millennia. His cave of knowledge, like that of Bat Cave of virus ecology, teaches vigilance and balance. He reminds us that the medicine must evolve and serve the humanity, and the healing is a dialogue between tradition and innovation. His contribution is not a relic of past, but a living lesson for the future. So, definitely, and this is something, his legacy is not definitely we should read, we should appreciate, and we should also follow the footstep what he has put across for human development, human health development. So his legacy, as I said, is not definitely a relic. It's a living compass pointing us towards future where the healing is both precise and compassion. So we have come to end of this interesting topic. I will request you to like and subscribe our channel and look forward for your comments on this topic. See you in the next one. But before we end this live video, a few words about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.